Let's just see. I have another mouse, but we'll see. Okay, so this is going to be on the Samson Nazarite Vow in a templeless Jerusalem. How the Samson Nazarite Vow is the most viable of them. Okay, good. Let's just see. Good. So I have that, and I'm going to put the monetization on. I hope you good people are having a good day. I know I am, so far. It's been a bit of a rickety night. Hello, people who are here. Hello. Hang on, let's turn this on. Save. All right. Yes. We are over. Hey, Dev Coffee is here. He's going to bed. Wow, 12-hour shift. Be well. Have a good rest. Have a good night. Get to bed. Get some sleep. Okay, so the Samson Nazarite Vow. Why is the Samson Nazarite Vow the most, let's say, viable or appropriate halachically as far as rabbinic law is concerned? There are 4 different types of Nazarites. And the Nazarite, many times, especially the one that's laid out in Numbers 6, is one that has to do with a set period of time, right? A Nazarite man or woman takes their vow for a set period of time. Halacha states it's 30 days onward. You cannot take a Nazarite vow for less than 30 days. Let's say you take it for 30 days. At the end of the 30 days, you need to bring offerings, sacrifices, shave your hair at the temple or tabernacle. What is my favorite guitar solo? Wow, that is a really good question. That's a really good question. I'll tell you. It's interesting. What came into my mind when you asked me that question, what in the world, is Slash's first and second one from November Rain. Even though I'm not that big of a Guns N' Roses fan, and even though I know in my mind that I've heard, let's say, better solos, let's say, right? Slash in November Rain, it just came into my mind. Could it be that that is what I think is my favorite guitar solo? Like, associatively, intuitively? I don't know. It is a banger. Hey, Chiming Wong is here from Malaysia. Hello, how you doing, Chiming or Chiming? Argentina lost. Yes, I saw the game. It was not one of the greatest, finals of the World Cup. I've seen better. What in the world? What is your favorite guitar solo? People in the chat, 26 of you here. What is your favorite guitar solo in a song? That is a really good question. And it's interesting that my mind went to Slash's November Rain. Because I know, so like I said, I know that there are probably ones that I am more fond of, that are more of my favorites, but that one is what came into my head. Hey, Matityahu Ben Shemesh, Shalom Yisrael, Shalom, Shalom, Boker Tov. מאיפה אתה? Where are you from? I'm in Jerusalem. Matityahu Ben Shemesh, איזה שם עברי. JB Food says, Free Palestine. I agree, Free Palestine from Hamas. Free Palestine from their oppressive religious extremist death cult regimes. Thank you, JB, for supporting Israel and the IDF. Prince cover of My Guitar Gently Weeps. Ooh, that's a good one too, Hyperslob. That's a really good one. Tetapua Roberts is here. Kia ora, brother. Kia ora, what does that mean? Is Hebrew or English your native language, Sonny says. I'm bilingual. So they are both. I'm native to both. White Lion? Wait. I don't know that one. Frankie, I don't know White Lion. Wait. Interesting. Small Hat Criminals, Muhammad Ali. Hey, nice to see you again, Muhammad. And interestingly, I have no small hat. Ah, shucks. It looks like you're mistaken. Warlex says, thoughts on Kamala using taxpayer dollars to go to Disneyland this weekend? And will you be attending her rallies next month? Well, I'm not in the U.S., and I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. She's a Democrat, right? Assuming you're speaking of Kamala Harris. I have no idea, other than the fact that she's a politician. I have no idea who she is, what she does, what her policies are, what her politics are. No idea. Are you a Jewish Mason or just Jewish? I'm not sure what a Jewish Mason is. Do you mean a Jewish Freemason? But no, I'm just a Hebrew man, no more, no less. Yeah. You're home. You're from, says Khurshid. I'm in Jerusalem. Where are you from, Khurshid? Stairway to Heaven. That's a really good one. Dragon Force, the game, Henny says. I don't know that one either. But Gurmuk, yeah, Stairway to Heaven is a great one. Josh G is back in the house. How you doing? Tel Aviv. Matitelas from Tel Aviv. Josh G says God isn't real. I agree. God is not real. For if God was real, there was also the option or the duality of being not real. And God is not a duality. Ergo, God is not real. That's true. Ignoring the Israel genocide comments as per usual, JB says. No, JB, you actually made one comment and I addressed it. It could be that YouTube is censoring. Oh, no, there it is. I'm sorry, I missed it. Free Palestine from the Israeli genocide. Well, first of all, there is no genocide. The only would-be genocide is if Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, Fatah, Hezbollah, Iran had their way. But Israel is not committing a genocide, and it has never committed a genocide in the, of the Palestinian population. Also, there's no such thing as Palestine, but there are people living here who call themselves that, so that's fine. What are you doing for a living? I'm a writer, Jacob. That's what I do for a living. Hi from Brazil. Hey, Hero NYT1. Do you know any Yiddish? No, Sonny, unfortunately I don't. Are you a Jewish supremacist? No, I believe we're all humans made in the image of God. No more, no less, and not one nation is better than the other. Zappa! Oh, Zappa is so good. I love Frank Zappa, Dweezil Zappa as well. He's got such, he does his father proud, I'm sure. San Diego, California. Hey there in Cali. So it's just after midnight in Cali, right? Do you support Zionism? Yes, I do. I'm a biblical Zionist and a modern day Zionist, but I don't excuse what anybody or everybody does in the name of Zionism, right? You don't just get to do whatever you want and slap a label of Zionism on it and make it kosher. That's not how it works. True facts, thanks from an Israeli. Hey, Hydro Flame, shalom, shalom. Boker tov. Good morning. Live from Jerusalem with a cup of coffee. Still a bit too hot. I'll wait. Do you find it weird that I believe in Satan? No, I don't. Aquatic Sikh or C. But the question is, do you mean Satan as in the Christian devil, or do you mean Satan as in Satan in Hebrew, which is the adversary? Those are two very different conceptualizations of the dark side of the Force. Josh G says he's actually a pretty intelligent, unbiased, measured guy. I mean, I have my lack of intelligence. I have my biases and times when I'm not in measure, but it is what I try to be. That's correct. What in the world says, what is the best advice you would want to share that you've found in life? Cool job, writer. Humility. Humility is the key to all positive attributes. Humility is the key to all good personality traits. Be humble. Don't be a doormat. Know your boundaries, but be humble. Humility. Humility. Are you ever going to take a shower, York says. Yes, I shower almost each and every day. Delusional, go worship a golden calf, says Jason. Sorry, it's against the Torah to worship golden idols. Otherwise, who knows, maybe I would have. But no, we have not worshipped golden calves or any other foreign deities ever since the beginning of the Second Temple era. So just about 2,000 years. But Jason, I'm not gatekeeping. If you want to go worship a golden calf, a silver cow, a bronze bull, you go right ahead. Israel is the terrorist state, says D. Kubyar. Really? Prove it. How are Israel terrorists? I have no idea what you're talking about. Are there individual people who have homicidal, psychopathic tendencies? Yes. And they have no place in the army and they have no place in the government. But Israel is not a terrorist state. It's actually the other way around, with Israel being the one who accepted the UN partition plan, who has given land for peace, who has signed peace agreements, has made concessions for ceasefires, and continues to act in such a way, offering the Palestinian leadership at the time several times the West Bank of the Jordan, East Jerusalem as a capital, and Gaza. And they said no, because they don't want a state, because they're a bunch of terrorist pieces of shit. Okay. Thoughts on Jesus, and what do you mean by real and not real? I believe Jesus is a dead man. A dead man, that's it. No more, no less. A righteous dead man, but a dead man nonetheless. What do I mean by real or not real? It means that I have the parameters by which I perceive reality. I have the senses, physical and metaphysical, if you will, through which I conceive existence as such. But God, I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself to me. God's revelation comes to me through these sets of limiting parameters, the spectrum of what I can hear, the spectrum of what I can see, the spectrum of what I can taste and touch and feel and so on. And just like we have these parameters that limit us and give us our spectrum of being in a physical form, we have the same thing in a spiritual form. In the very same way, we have tools, right? We've expanded our limited parameters through use of telescopes and microscopes. We've expanded our limited spiritual abilities with other things that we cultivate. That is real. That is what we experience. But God is not something that we experience. Everything that we are experiencing are the revelations of God, the ways through which God is revealed in the world. That is not the divine, that's the divine clothing, if you will. The clothes are not the actual person. The revelations are not the actual deity. The attributes are not actually God. So if you're saying that all of that is real, then there's also the possibility of it being not real. This is a world of duality. And because God is a singularity, right? Unthinkable, unknowable, unfathomable, inconceivable, I say that God is not real. God does not exist. Because for existence, there means non-existence. And for reality, there means non-reality. And for being, there means non-being, which means it's all part of a duality. And God is not a duality, ergo, God is not any of those things. He is not real, he does not exist, and he does not be. He's none of those things. Those are just words that we use to try to convey the meaning of the divine revelation insofar as we can perceive it. That's what I mean. Scrolling down in the chat. What are your favorite fermented foods? My favorite fermented foods. I'll have to get back to you on that. Hey, Jose, good to see you. Josh is here. Lawton Swan is here. I wipe my butt every 200 years. How great. I wipe my butt once a month. Eat some food, dude. I actually just did right now, Star Orbiter. It's good to see you again. I think you've been here before. Talmud is written on my toilet roll. Hey, that's great. I think that's really fascinating. Now, do you have the Jerusalem Talmud on your toilet roll? Or do you have the Babylonian on your toilet roll? Do you alternate? Is it on both sides? Because that's difficult. So please let me know. Josh G says, maybe we didn't evolve with the biological sensors to be able to see things that are beyond our perception. That's correct. That's exactly what we did. But in the very same way that we were created without the ability to see all the way to the stars and beyond, without our ability to see into the microcosm of the subatomic world, we've developed apparatuses and tools to widen our perception. So now we have the Hubble and James Webb Space Telescopes, and now we have electron microscopes that can look into the innermost, we can't see quarks and neutrons and protons and electrons with the naked eye. We can't see Pluto with the naked eye. Or, maybe some people could, I don't know. Probably not. But we can see them with the tools that we've invented. And if you invent your spiritual tools and cultivate the proper apparatuses for expanding your sight, right, your heart, your mind, your ears, spiritually speaking, you will be able to perceive that which is currently hidden. In the very same way that right now, all over the air, there's TV waves and radio waves and Wi-Fi and other, different sound waves, and I don't actually see those waves, but I have a laptop. There is a Wi-Fi adapter in it. I have a phone. There is a receiver in it. There's a television set over there that, we use it as a screen. We have no channels or cable. We use it just as a monitor, but the point still stands. These are things which receive the different signals that are bouncing around in reality, even if I can't see them. All right. I don't believe in a literal God, but that doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't, again, literal would mean that there is something that is not literal, that is figurative, that is allegorical, but God is not this or that. That's it. That's one thing that the Ramak brought down to me, right, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, about 12 years ago when I started getting into his teachings. And it hit me through his teachings that no, we will never know God. There is a clear-cut difference between creator and creation. And the meeting point is the divine attributes, which are mirrored in the 10 Sfirot, which are mirrored in our being in the image of God. That's what that is. But to know the Creator, not a chance. To actually know God, no, there's no such thing. Mama Luigi, hey, good to see you. My God, what rabbit hole is he going down now? I go down any and every rabbit hole. I love going down. Holy fuck, what a mess this AI is, says Timothy. Really, AI? You think this is artificial intelligence? That's giving me way too much credit. I barely have any intelligence, let alone artificial intelligence. And if this is artificial intelligence, it's like the lowest of the low of the different models. You look like you listen to the Grateful Dead. I do, Purple Frostbite. I love the Grateful Dead. Go to barbershop, says Mehmet Uker. I would, but that would be kind of deceiving them because when I walk up to the shop, they may think, oh my God, finally this creep is going to get his hair cut. But then I'll just stand there because I don't get my hair cut because I'm a Nazarite. Unknown says, Jesus is God, Lord. All of that relates to Baal. Yeshua is the right way to use it. No, I'm not a follower of Jesus, but go for it and worship whatever deity you want. How much do you earn from Israeli propaganda? Mr. B says. I don't earn anything. I'm not paid by anyone. This is not simply propaganda, though you might want to call it propaganda, hasbara, zayo, slop. Whatever you want to call it is fine. This is not a channel that is supposed to be some pro-Israel, propaganda hasbara machine. This is just what comes up in the chat. This channel is supposed to be on faith, spirituality, religion, self-development, psychology, philosophy, underarm farts, underleg farts, cups of coffee, and low-level AI models. You a Bob Marley, ZZ Top fan? I'm not a fan of ZZ Top. On the other hand, I never gave them enough of a shot. I never sat down and listened to a ZZ Top record from start to finish, and maybe I should. Hey, Kung Fupa is here. It doesn't need to make sense. That's why it's called faith. Yeah, that's correct. It doesn't need to make sense. It's something that can not make sense. Baal is a false god and can't save anyone. He is a hypocrite. He's a hypocrite, like his follower. Well, people have not worshipped Baal in Israel for a very long time, as a group. Individual Israelis, individual Jews might still worship Baal, but Israel has not worshipped Baal in a couple of thousand years at least. Salo says, don't take these people in the comments seriously. I mean, I do and I don't. We're just here to have a conversation. It's all good. There's a humanitarian catastrophe unfolding practically outside your door, and somehow your outrage is reserved for the people talking about it. Outrage? Hardly. No, my outrage is at Hamas for subjecting their population to this. My outrage is at the Palestinian Authority for subjecting their population to this. My outrage is likely at people who are terrorist supporters, sure, because they are imbeciles and useful idiots who don't know what they're talking about. To be anti-Israel is one thing. To be pro-Hamas is another thing. Okay. I prefer a French press for coffee and medium roast, says Kung Fupa. I don't know if I've ever had a French press. Is deer meat kosher? Yes, it is, Jose. Why do coins have ridges? I mean, is it for traction, for purchase, when you hold it? That's a very good question. I don't know. Some of them do, some of them don't. I mean, likely it would just be so it will be easier to pick them up, but, or something else. You're an idiot, RM. Now look, it's the internet. Maybe you're not an English native speaker or writer. To write you're an idiot, Y-O-U-R, that's already kind of, that's already kind of informing what it is that you're going to say. Second of all, yes, I am an idiot. I am a great idiot. Idiot is a technical term. It describes people with an IQ of 60 or about thereof. So yes, I've never taken an IQ test. I would imagine that I'm maybe an idiot. It could very well be. And then I could proudly put a badge and say that says, yes, I'm an idiot. But even without the badge, even without taking the IQ test proper, I will go with what you say. Yes, I am. Voodoo Zombie, what are your thoughts on Yasser Arafat, that he is a murderer, terrorist individual who died? That's what he is. I bet you like Matisyahu, his shows. Icy Bubble, I enjoyed him in his earlier work, and then I tuned out, not because he went wrong, not because anything happened, simply because I stopped listening. For whatever reason. You look like Weird Al. Thanks, Bob Laser. I take that as a compliment. RM sucks. Punctuation is lost on him, says Kung Fupa. Like, again, this is the internet. People will misspell things. People will not punctuate. That's fine. Let's continue. So you like Netanyahu? No, I don't. I think he is abhorrent and his administration is appalling and he needs to go. I'm about to vote in the next election after not voting for just over 20 years because I believe politics is a pit of shit. But I will be voting if only to kick him out. I hope I'll be able to find a party that I support in part, a candidate that I can stand behind in part. I don't know yet. We'll have to do that in August. You're not your. Exactly, Momox Cupcake. Exactly. Are you single? Nope. I've been married for 23 years. Met my girlfriend at 16. Married her at 20. So, yeah. Weird Al is fire, and given the personality that aligns, Weird Al is actually extremely intense. He didn't die. He's still rolling. You Orthodox Jew? I grew up Orthodox in Jerusalem, but I don't label myself as religious or Orthodox as such any longer. I don't rule out going back to keeping a strict Orthodox way of life, but I don't any longer. Cheese and rice, says Icy Bubble. Cheese and rice. What type of cheese are we talking about? What type of rice are we talking about? Start your own party. No, Kung Fu Pai, stay away from politics. Politics is horrible. Horrible. It's vile, and it's toxic, it's poisonous, it's divisive, and I don't want to do it. And then that's why I don't vote. Also because I think that the people who are actually voted into office are puppets, and that the ones who have not been voted into office, the ones of wealth, power, authority, influence, they're the ones who are pulling the strings. No, I don't know. Do you think Israel was a little too careful with their bombing of cities in Palestine? Yagster says, I don't know. First of all, there's no such place as Palestine, but let's call it Palestine for the sake of argument. Too careful? I don't know enough about the care that Israel took specifically with bombing. I know that Hamas embeds itself into the civilian population to begin with, and this is done in order to maximize civilian casualties. So Hamas got exactly what they wanted: more corpses for their propaganda machine, more shaheeds for their Ganna, right, for their Eden. Careless, you meant? Okay, were they careless? I don't know, because Hamas brought this on themselves. Hamas put their own population in the line of fire. They used them as cannon fodder, as human shields. They put their own combatants and their weapons caches and their trading facilities and their headquarters in mosques and schools and homes and hospitals and underground tunnels that go beneath such buildings. So they knew exactly what they were doing. Israel disengaged from Gaza over 20 years ago. Hamas had a very long time to decide what is it they wanted to do. Do they want to turn Gaza into a seaside paradise, raise the quality of life of their people, or do they want to continue down their merry terrorist way, attacking Israel, stealing money, and basically growing fat on the aid of others and off the backs of their population? And they chose the latter. And so they had a long time to booby-trap Gaza, turned it into a wide network of terrorist tunnels, homes, establishments, buildings, structures. That's what they did. So, and then they claim, oh, they're bombing civilians. Yeah, maybe because you implemented your terrorist network into every place in Gaza, and into civilian homes, and into civilian establishments, and into civilian that would be protected under the Geneva Convention had Hamas not taken them over. Right? Schools and mosques and hospitals. Hamas uses these, so they lose the Geneva Convention protection that they ought to be offered. Hamas also uses Red Crescent ambulances, UNRWA vehicles. This is documented fact, which means that these vehicles, these structures and establishments that would have been protected under the Geneva Convention lost any kind of protection when Hamas uses them. Also, there is that idea of proportionality. Right? Combatant to non-combatant. Israel is doing its utmost to minimize civilian casualties. This was always, almost always, the doctrine of the IDF. And Hamas does the opposite because they believe in death. They are a disgusting death cult. They revel in death. They would gladly sacrifice every last man, woman, and child in Gaza for their cause. They will gladly slaughter every last man, woman, and child in Israel for their cause. And their cause, by the way, is not a Palestinian state. In the charter, the original charter of Hamas, it doesn't mention anything about a Palestinian state. It mentions that Israel will exist and continue to exist until Islam obliterates it. That is the basis of their thesis. That's what it is. Mofo Show says, nobody likes this trash. Okay, that's true. Some trash people like, some trash people don't like. If this is trash that you don't like, then feel free to scroll away. It's all good. Okay. Hey, Lord Snuffy. Oh, wise tiny hat. I have no tiny hat, but, I accept. Will you teach me the ways of compound interest and the rent collecting? No, I will not. I don't know anything about finances, unfortunately. I probably could stand to know more. I'm fairly ignorant in ways of interest, compound interest, and rent collecting. So I have no idea what to tell you. Here's what I know about finances. Do your best to live within or below your means. Set aside money, whether it's for retirement or some other sort of a goal that you're saving towards, and always have some other account that you're saving money in, and always make an attempt to live within your means or below them. I think that when you do that, you're able to weather the storms and also be thankful and grateful for what you have, stay out of debt, and that's really crucial. So yeah. Do you support genocide? No, I don't, Star G. I don't know what genocide you're talking about. There is no genocide going on right now in the region here, unless you're counting the Syrian civil war where they were fighting each other. There are different genocides going on now in the world, but nobody's talking about that. People are too busy with Israel for some reason. Reported for supporting terrorism? Go to the shower, says Nico. What is it? No, she's not home. She's at work.
Did you take your computer?
I have no idea. I don't know. Yes? No, yeah, you can go check. Really, I supported terrorism. Oh, Nico. Oh, you sweet summer child. And I don't mean that condescendingly. I'm sure you are indeed a sweet summer child in this July. So, reported for supporting terrorism. Please tell me, when did I support terrorism? It's so futile. So futile. Okay. H-Bub Business says compound interest is effectively when the interest creates more interest. If you hold money in a continual investment, it's an inevitable result of long-term investments. Yes, when things compound. I understand the meaning, but the ways of compound interest and how best to achieve it, I know the term. I don't know how best to achieve it. Presumably, it takes money to make money. Have your money work for you, right? Those cliches, but they're true. They're true. Mo for show, you shouldn't talk like this in front of your mommy. Talk like what? Did I say anything that my mommy would not? What do you say, kid? Okay, cool. What's the matter? All right. Okay. You know what? You're in a mood. Okay. You're in a bad mood. So, all right. Stay in a bad mood. You're kidding. Tell me you're kidding. You know what, man? You really don't appreciate what you have in this house. You really, really don't. I would open your eyes if I were you. Really, open your eyes. When will you trim your beard, says Mad Chill. I don't think I will, actually. I don't think I will. You look like the guy from the movie Pianist. You know what? I saw that movie once. I should probably see it again. It's crazy the amount of haters in here. No, Kung Fupa, it's not at all crazy. It's par for the course. Caramels, how many times have you seen The Pianist? The shiksha is mad, says Voodoo. The shiksha? What is shiksha? There's no such thing as shiksha. There is shiksa, which is sheketz, shiktza. That's the Yiddishization of the Hebrew. I love you, says Keith Bird. Thank you. I love you too. It's nice to be loved. All you need is love. Why are you protesting Benjamin Netanyahu, says Bokitzion? He is doing the right thing. Why do some Jewish people not support him? You must unite. That is non-negotiable. I agree it's non-negotiable that we must unite. But I think that Netanyahu already overstayed his welcome as the caretaker of the throne, of the stewardship of Israel, and that he needs to go. We need new administration, new leadership, new blood. Once again, I don't know who it's going to be, what party will be voted in, what their platform is, what their policies are. I'll get into that during August, a little bit before the election. If I actually find that there is nobody that I would want to vote for, not even a little, and Netanyahu is the lesser of all evils, I'm not going to vote. I haven't voted in over 20 years, and I won't vote in the next election if Netanyahu is the one that I would be voting for out of all of them, because that's crazy. It's crazy. So why I'm not protesting Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm simply not. I didn't vote for him, and I'm not protesting against him. I haven't protested any kind of leader, or I haven't been to a political protest ever since the expulsion from Gush Katif in 2005. It was there that I found out the terrible truth that social protest does absolutely nothing to politicians in the state of Israel, insofar as I could tell. So I stopped attending rallies, demonstrations, political protests, rallies and demonstrations of a political nature. I stopped, and I haven't been to a rally or a protest or some, of a political or demonstration of a political nature in over 20 years, and I haven't voted in over 20 years because of that. But I will vote in the next election if I find somebody who is viable, who could replace Netanyahu. Yes. Vote joint list, says paid memberships. What joint list? I'm not sure which joint list you mean. If you mean the Shima Meshutefet of Jews and Arabs, again, I will have to read their platform, see who their candidates are, who would be in if they were voted for parliament, if they have this many seats or that many seats, and that's how I'm going to do it. Peace, love, and soul, Don Cornelius. Hey, also very ordinary. Mohammed, you support LGBT according to Judaism. First of all, I don't support the acronym. I don't support the acronym LGBTQA+++. I think that the acronym is a terrible thing. I think lumping people together in one acronym is, it's not true. It's not true that this acronym is like this one solid monolith. That's not true at all. There are many differences between the different pieces of that acronym. Not to mention that part of that acronym is sexual attraction, and part of that acronym has to do more with sexual or gender expression. And those are two things that are very, very different. So lumping it all together, I'm against that to begin with. I'm of the opinion that if you give me a scenario, and you give me the principal characters, and you tell me what's what, and you give me the details, I'll be able to address it and have maybe some sort of an opinion on it. But to simply say LGBT, or LGBTQ, or LGBTQAI++ XYZ, that's just lumping in a bunch of people together that have almost nothing to do with each other, and that lumping together in the acronym is not true to the very things that they purport to stand for, right? But there's no such thing as the community. I deal with individuals, by and large. Bro ain't watching Joseph movie no matter how much I suggest. Kunal, you seem to be under the misapprehension that I'm into biblical movies, but I told you I'm not into biblical movies. I'd rather watch other movies. If there's something that I want to watch in the movie theater, some sort of like in CinemaScope with crazy effects, or maybe I'd go then. Simply to watch it on my laptop or my phone, no, I don't think so. I don't think I will. I appreciate the suggestion, but I don't think that I will. Let's continue. Israel has no constitution. That is correct. Part of the reason why Israel has no constitution is because Israel is a Jewish democratic state. In some things it's more Jewish, in other things it's more democratic. And to have a constitution would mean that it would de facto replace the Torah and the Hebrew law as the law of the land. And since that's not something that can actually be done all the way, because we do want to keep it a Jewish democratic state, in some things Jewish, in some things democratic, having a constitution would probably negate that in some ways, which is why the different committees on the constitution of the state of Israel have been meeting on and off for years and have never come to a consensus and have never actually done anything, at least as far as I know, to further it and actually solidify a constitution, right, and canonize it. I think that's why. I might be wrong. Free your mind, the rest will follow. En vogue, that's right. Free your mind, then the rest will follow. Doom, doom, doom. Good week, everyone. Thanks also very annoying. Indeed, free your mind. Free your mind, for sure. In Inner Carty, to claim to be a Samsonite is a good way to reach modern day men. I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, I'm a Samson Nazarite. If by Samsonite you mean Samson Nazarite, which is like an amount, like coming the two together, then yeah, I suppose it is a good way, though many other ways exist, and that's all well and good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. Oh yeah. Okay. Why couldn't you just affirm the Torah and the Constitution, says Mike. I think because the majority of the people in Israel are secular. They're traditional, and if they are traditional, they're Orthodox, but most of the people are not defined as religious by their own definition in the state of Israel. To have the Torah in the Constitution, that also might be problematic for those who want this to be a state like any other state, a country like any other country. It's a very problematic thing to do, because does it represent the population? Right? The Constitution should likely represent the population that it is. Well, it should at least in some ways represent the population. Okay. Z has been over 25 years since I become an adult. Z? What do you mean? Are you talking to someone in the chat? I'm not sure. Jacob is here. Amen, he says. Business says that is really interesting. I thought Israel was predominantly Jewish faith. It is predominantly Jewish faith, but there are most people, right? Most people would consider themselves secular. Other people would consider themselves traditional, more leaning towards the secular or religious, but not most. A minority of Israel is religious that defines themselves as religious. That's true, at least at last count. Shabbat Shalom, my homeless wizard. Thanks a lot, imported baby. I appreciate that. There is indeed the commandment to remember Shabbat every single day, which is why the proper days of the week in the Hebrew faith are the first of the Sabbath, the second of the Sabbath, the third of the Sabbath. That's how we count the days. Rishon b'Shabbat, Shani b'Shabbat, Shlishi b'Shabbat. What is a Nazarite? Adiku says or asks. It is a man or woman who has taken on a vow of a Nazarite, as is prescribed in Numbers 6, or the Samson vow. No, imported baby. Someone who comes from Nazareth is a Nazarene. Nazarene is of Nazarat. Nazarite is Nazir. There's a difference, a big difference there. Nazarenes are also the first Jewish people who followed Jesus. They were called Nazarenes at the time. And currently it is a church, I think it's an evangelical sort of church that calls itself the Church of the Nazarene. Rithwick the Great. Hi, Rithwick. Is not Judaism a race-based religion? No, it's not. Otherwise, there would be no converts. What happens to those born outside of the race? Nothing. You can be whatever race, ethnicity, geographical location. If you are born to a Jewish mother, you are rabbinically speaking, halakhically speaking, a Jew. If you're born to a Jewish father, it used to be that it went through the father. After the return from Babylon, before the establishment and the construction of the Second Temple, Ezra the scribe said that now the faith goes through the mother, the tribal affiliation remains with the father. So if you're born to a Jewish father, you are what's called the seed of Israel, but you're not properly Jewish halachically, right, according to rabbinic law, and you need to convert according to rabbinic law. And if you are born not with a Jewish mother or father or anything, right, then you need to convert, but that is how it's done. Let's continue. Scrolling down. God gave your people justice, says imported baby, and you spat in his face. I'm not sure what you mean. Which justice are we talking about? I'm not sure what you mean. Could you clarify? It's going like over my head. Trump isn't Jesus, says Brock Samson. Are people saying he is Jesus? Really? Hey, Tenebris is here. The blood of Jesus is useless. He wasn't Messiah or God. Yes, this is the Hebrew way of thinking about it, unless you're a Messianic Jew. What your people are doing in Gaza, says Lawin Uno. Well, we are fighting a defensive war against a bloodthirsty death cult of a terrorist regime that wants to annihilate every single man, woman in Israel. And every married man, woman in Israel, for that matter. What about a woman with a Jewish father? No. If it's only a Jewish father, she's not Jewish. If she has a Jewish mother, she is Jewish. That's it. Halachically, rabbinically speaking, only those born to the mother are Jews, because at the time of Ezra the scribe and Nehemiah, after the return from 70-odd years in Babylon, the people of Israel already lost a lot of what they had before, and they were marrying foreign women. And Ezra the scribe was like, no, you should be marrying within the tribes. And so now he decreed, and this has stayed tradition and law, that only those born to a Jewish mother, an Israelite mother, are Jewish, those who are born to a non-Jewish mother are not Jewish, which means that the foreign women converted, or the people divorced them and married their Hebrew sisters, not biological sisters. Are you strong like Samson? If you cut your hair, you become weak, Fred Chambers says. Well, I don't think I'm as strong as Samson, and if I cut my hair, I don't know if I will become weak or not. I have no idea what will happen. Hopefully I won't need to find out. Bro, you should go to the gym to become modern day Samson. I do go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. Is Ben Gvir a death cultist? Paid membership. I don't know enough about Ben Gvir. I've heard so many different things about him, things he does, the policies that he associates with or wants to carry out. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't vote and I stay away from politics. All I know is that he is the Minister of Interior Security, right? The Minister of the Interior, or of the Security, Interior Security. So, I have no idea. I have no idea what he is, what he does, where he comes from, what his deal is. I don't know. I know some people love him, some people hate him. I haven't met anyone in between who could take it, either way. Are you supreme Jew? Says why though? No, I'm not a supreme of any kind. I'm really a low-level dumbass here in the Middle East. That's all that I am, no more, no less. I'm not a fan of supremacy, be it Jewish or racial or ethnic or I don't know what. I'm not a fan of supremacy. Can a non-Jew name his son Yehuda? Of course, why not? Peugeot says, what do you think determines more who is a Jew? A shy, compassionate, benevolent person or a Jewish mother? Well, technically, halachically, a Jewish mother makes you a Jew. Even if you're a piece of crap Jew, even if you're a terrible person, you're a terrible Jewish person. As for being compassionate, benevolent, and shy, and I mean shy in a good way, not in a bad way, that's okay. That has nothing to do with Judaism. I know they say by Shanim Lachmanim Gomlei Chasadim, but it's like that's simply the mark of being a good person. That's not necessarily a Jewish thing. Traditionally, it's said that the Jews are these things, but I've met plenty of Jews who are not. Mad Chill says, wouldn't the Bible or Torah argue for the religion to be a core part of the government? Yes, insofar as the Bible is concerned, Israel is a monarchy, a theocracy with the king and the high court, the Sanhedrin, and the high priest, right? And the prophets. All of that has to do with faith and religion. But in these days, where it's not a theocracy, we are not a religious state in the sense that halacha is the law, many people would want halacha to be the actual law of the land, but that's not it, because we are a Jewish democratic state, not a theocracy, not a monarchy, right? It's not a kingdom, not yet. We need to anoint a king. Jews have to repent. Oh, sorry, the chat jumped. I didn't see who said that. I'll try and scroll back up. Yes. Yeah, I don't know who said that. But yes, Jews have to repent. I agree. Modern day Nazarite. Hey, look at that. Shalom, brother. I never thought I'd meet another. Hello. Hello. Hey, hit me up, modern day Nazarite. I'll hook you up with a few others. Now, are you a proper Hebrew Nazarite? Are you a foreigner, a non-Jew who took on a Nazarite vow? I would love to know. Let's continue. Gordo Baby says, here in Argentina, we support Jews. We don't have Muslims, thank God. I mean, look, it's nice that you support the Jews. There are good Muslims in the world, right? Let's not forget Islam and the Arab world had its golden age. Maybe it will have another golden age. Why not? Why not? I pray for another golden age for all faiths and all religions. I think that would be very, very good if that happened. Am Yisrael Chai is here. Why, though, says, is there anything different about how Jews fart? Yes, there is. If you are in the middle of prayer, it's better to take off your shawl and your phylacteries, right, and then go fart somewhere else. If you fart, but then you need to say like a blessing, then you need to do it in your mind and not say God's name so long as the aroma is in the air. But as there a difference about how Jews actually expel gas, methane, right, primarily from their anus? No. I'm assuming it depends on how puckered up your butthole is. It depends on what you had to eat. If you have a big bowl of cholent with a lot of beans, that might make a difference. Might make a difference. Boredom is a sign of an idle life and the mother of bad intentions, says Big Al from Southern Cal. Nice name. Yes, boredom is not a good thing, although I'm back in the army. I was a field medic, and that was my profession. And if I wasn't needed, that was a good thing. So I learned to appreciate boredom in the army, be it in mandatory service or reserve duty. I've been a field medic, a combat medic, right, and an infirmary medic. So if I wasn't needed, that was a good thing. So I learned to appreciate boredom in the army. I really did. Thank you for your service, soldier. I mean, don't thank me. It's part and parcel of being an Israeli citizen. We do our duty to our brothers and sisters and to the country. In order for me to become a Jew, do I just go to synagogue and pay a few $100 US? Phil Leotardo. Hey, Phil. Sorry you got whacked. Right? You got whacked. Oh, right. Phil. I haven't seen Sopranos in so many years. I think Phil was run over, right? He was run over at the end, and then the dude pukes. Blah! No, conversion is something that can happen for free. Some people take money. Some people do it in a week. Some people do it in, 7, 8 years. Conversion, depending on which Judaism, I suppose, right, you want to convert to, it really, really matters. God never helps and yet gets all credit. I mean, again, I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself to me. I have been very fortunate and blessed and privileged to have God help me out in many ways, and times when it wasn't exactly the way that I thought help would come, but it came nonetheless, even if it was in an indirect sort of way, in a way where I could not have, it's not necessarily how I would have chosen it to happen, but it was the best thing across time, right? It was the best thing to happen, hindsight being 2020. Studiers don't need to join the army. I disagree. A number of studiers should not join the army. A handful, and I mean that relatively to the population, a handful of people should be abstaining and learning Torah. Torah is something amazing. Torah is something that rescues. Torah is something that saves. Torah is like a shield, I agree. But to say that, let's say, all of the Haredi people who don't join the army do so because of that is crap. That goes against the Torah, that goes against halacha, that goes against traditional Jewish and Hebrew life, for that matter. So yeah. If Herodians ruled Judea, didn't it make David's covenant false? No, because there are many different kings that stood on the kingdom, that sat on the throne of the kingdoms of Judah and Israel. It is said that the final Messiah will come from the house of David, from the line of Yishai, the tribe of Judah. But nowhere does it say that all Messiahs need to come from the line of David and Yishai and Judah. That is false. October 7th was Mossad, says Austrian painter. I don't know what happened on October 7th. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I'm inclined to say that you are wrong and that Mossad did not orchestrate this, but I have no idea. I don't think that's what happened. I think Hamas invaded, and I think that's what they're paying for now. What do you think about the magician Uri Geller, says TBR. Hey TBR, good to see you again. Do you believe in remote viewing? I'm not sure what remote viewing means. What do I think about him? I think he's a fine craftsman. I think he knows his craft. He's an artist, right? He's got sleight of hand and things like that. He's some kind of a mentalist or something along those lines. So good for him. Listen to me, you want words, Joshua says, which is very secret in your society. What? I'm not sure what you mean, Joshua. Do I want words? Yes, I do. I am a man of words. Sophia says, down with Israel. Palestine will triumph through the strength of Muslims and the guidance of God. Freedom for Palestine. I agree. May there be freedom for Palestine from Hamas and the Palestinian Authority and the rest of the pieces of shit terrorists that oppress them, the death cults that are dictatorships and wolves in sheep's clothing that murder their own people, put them in the line of fire, use them as cannon fodder and human shields. As for down with Israel, yes, I agree. There will come a time where all countries and all borders and everything will be gone. We will be back in Eden, a unified human race, together to partake of the fruit of the tree of life. Thank you, Sophia, for supporting the IDF. Thank you for supporting Israel in its just war against terrorism. It's nice to have your support. Why was the Israeli flag given the Star of David and not the menorah, in your opinion? I would say, first of all, I don't know. Second of all, I think the Star of David, since the menorah has to do with the temple, the Star of David has to do, right, it has its origins in the Kabbalah. I think the Star of David was used and not the menorah. The menorah, incidentally, is used on the coat of arms of the state of Israel, right? It's the menorah and two branches of olive. So it wasn't used for the flag, but it is used for the state of Israel coat of arms. You can look it up. That's where the menorah is used. The menorah is also used on a couple of different coins, the Tenagorot coin. Point is, the Star of David is something that is less associated with the temple, associatively, right? By the way people think. The menorah is associated with the temple. The temple is associated with ritual worship. And the menorah signifies the divine feminine presence. The Star of David signifies the unity of the masculine and feminine divine presence in the world, right? The 6 points represent the masculine. The 7th invisible point in the center represents the feminine. So the star itself represents unity. I'm pretty sure that's why. I'm not saying that the people at the first Congress in Basel knew Kabbalah. All I'm saying is that one of those has to do with ritual worship at the temple, very religious. The other one has to do with a symbol, right, of unity, which is not as religious. And maybe that's why. But I honestly don't know what their calculations were when choosing this over the other. It's a lot darker in thirsty Iran today. What is thirsty Iran? Why are you calling yourself a Nazarite? What the F? Because I took a Samson Nazarite vow 16 years ago. Hello from New Zealand. Have you heard of my small island country? Of course I have, Padawan. Next to Australia. Let's continue. Healthy says, you're not intelligent, Nazarite. There's absolutely no design or unity behind Israel. Really? Israel itself is 12 tribes that are one nation. How is that not unity? As for not being intelligent, of course I'm not intelligent. I never claimed to be intelligent. On that we are agreed. Second of all, putting Nazarite in quotations, okay, that's cool. No design or unity behind Israel? Are you mental? Seriously, healthy 1, 2, 3. It's not very mentally healthy to be disregarding history to such a degree and blinding yourself to reality. I hope that despite your foolishness regarding Israel, that in other facets of life, you're doing well and are indeed healthy mentally and physically, and materialistically and spiritually. Because from this one comment you made, it's iffy. You gotta say it's iffy. Nazarite, says Dr. Spoosh. Yes, I am. Sefirot is here. Hey, Unifier. Shut the fuck up, you're intelligent. No, I have my moments. That does not make me intelligent. Have a shave, Gandalf, says the Random Club. I don't think so, Club. I don't think so. No, I think I'll keep it. Why do you cut your facial hair, says What the F? First of all, you're allowed to cut your facial hair. Second of all, I only trim the upper mustache to eat better and kiss better. That's the only thing. The upper lip, right? The bottom of the mustache, the upper lip. That's the only thing that I cut. So this is my original growth of beard. I've never shaved my beard. What is a Nazarite vow? It appears in Numbers 6, and there is a Samson vow that appears in Halacha. It's basically abstaining from grapes and grape-related products, and growing your hair wild and free, and for certain Nazarites, abstaining from coming into contact with human death, right, with corpses. That's it. That's pretty much it. Are your roots European? No, my roots are in Judea, Voodoo Zombie. That's why I'm known as a Jew or a Hebrew man. My roots are in the land of Israel. My ancestors were kicked out after the fall of the Second Temple. They arrived in Europe, they moved to the US, and then back to Jerusalem. That's the way it goes. The only woman you are kissing is your mother. Really, Floki Moki or Mochi? I don't think so. I think I've been married for just over 23 years. And if I've been kissing my mother all this time, that would make me Oedipus. Do I look like an Oedipus to you? Weird the human corpses part. No. No, it's not weird at all. I searched and there's no term as Samson Nazarite. Bro, you created your own term. Hey, Kunal, Search a little bit better. There definitely is a Samson Nazarite. Look it up. There are 4 different types of Nazarites. There's a Nazarite for life, a lifelong Nazarite, 2 separate things that sound the same, a Nazarite for a set period of time, and a Samson Nazarite. There are 4 of them. Look it up. As for creating my own terms, yes I do. I pick and choose and I make no apology. I am a cherry picker. I am a man of cafeteria faith. Are there different denominations in Judaism? Yes, there are. Do you have a video about Judaism to know all about the foundational beliefs so that one could decide for themselves? No, I'm not here to educate anybody. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a preacher. I'm not here to tell you what's what. I'm just here to have conversations with people and give my perhaps misguided views and opinions. As for the different denominations, primarily there's Orthodox Rabbinic Judaism, old school Judaism, right? There's Karaite Judaism, there's Samaritan Judaism, Reconstructionist Judaism, Reform Judaism, Conservative Judaism, and within these there are also sub-denominations and different sects and different courts. So, yes. Pardon me. Does your wife have a thicker mustache than you? No, my wife is quite feminine, and so she doesn't grow facial hair. She's exceedingly feminine, and I love that about her. You should get rhinoplasty, says Steak Eater. No, I like my schnoz the way it is. It's been broken a few times, but I'm cool with that. Mar Toking says, 8 billion people reject your genocide and toddler-eating ways. First of all, there is no ongoing genocide. The only one would be if Hamas had their way, then there would be. As for toddler-eating ways, as somebody who has raised several toddlers and has babysat other toddlers and has been, visiting and has met other toddlers, not once did I ever eat a toddler. I mean, no, I don't think I have. Modern-day Israel is not the biblical Israel, period. That is false, Healthy. Whether it's the geographical location, and that could be disputed, the people, it's not disputed in the least, that we are the remnants of the kingdom of Judah. The biblical Israel is 12 tribes. The biblical Israel, right, it separated into the kingdom of Israel, which was exiled by Assyria, and the kingdom of Judah that was exiled by Babylon. And so the kingdom of Israel, the 10 lost tribes, are lost, and they are making an appearance now. And different Jewish groups around, or Hebrew groups around the world, are claiming lineage to the 10 lost tribes. And so time will tell on that. Regarding the kingdom of Judah, the remnants of the kingdom came back from Babylon, and then the remnants of those remnants came back after the different exiles, right? The Greek one, the Edomite one, and so on. So we are now the remnants of the remnants, right? The few of the few that are left, but we are indeed the biblical Israel. And you can negate that. Where is your proof? Where's your proof? Okay. You cannot prove a single thing you say, says Healthy. Well, first of all, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can. Not every single thing, but I can definitely prove many single things, not every single thing. Tell me something that you want to push back against me, prove me wrong, and I will gladly accept and concede and say that you are right and I am wrong. I have no problem with that. Stop killing children and justifying it, says what the F. Really? Well, tell your Hamas freedom fighter buddies to stop using children as human shields, to stop using their own population as cannon fodder, stop putting their munitions and their weapons caches, their headquarters, their combatants in mosques and schools and homes and hospitals and private residences, right? Tell them to stop doing that, and you'll see how people stop dying and only Hamas will be killed. But Hamas embed themselves into the civilian population with the express and deliberate intent of maximizing civilian casualties. So idiots will say, oh, it's Israel, without knowing anything about the war. They've never knowing any sort of combat and believing whatever they're being spoon-fed by the terrorist propaganda machine. So if you want Israel to stop killing kids, the blood is not on the hands of Israel. The blood of those innocent people, men, women, and children alike, is on the hands of Hamas, who had every opportunity to establish a Palestinian state in Gaza, but said, no, fuck that, we're just going to keep attacking Israel. Now, are there individual soldiers who are genocidal, homicidal, psychopathic maniacs who target kids? If there are such people, they don't belong in the army, they belong in prison. They should be put on trial, brought to justice. But To just tar Israel with one brush and call them children killers is to be a Hamas sympathizer de facto, to support terrorism, to support the death cult, the warmongering, bloodthirsty regime, dictatorship of Hamas. Is that really you? I ask you. Really, is it? Okay. When were they allowed to establish a state of Palestine in Gaza? First of all, the UN partition plan. Second of all, Jordan could have done it. They ruled over Gaza from 1948 till 1967, but they didn't. They annexed the land instead. I'm sorry, Egypt. Jordan ruled over the West Bank and East Jerusalem. They could have established a Palestinian state in those areas. Egypt ruled Gaza from 1948 till 1967. They could have established a Palestinian state then. They didn't do it. Egypt was offered Gaza in the peace accords between Israel and Egypt. And they said, no, we're not touching that hornet's nest. You keep that, Israel. That's fine. They could have taken it and given it back to their Palestinian brothers and sisters to establish a state. They didn't do that. The current Palestinian leadership, the previous Palestinian leadership, Yasser Arafat, Abu Mazen, they were offered East Jerusalem, Gaza, and the West Bank in order to establish a Palestinian state. They were offered this twice, maybe thrice. And they said no. They didn't even have the courtesy to say no. They simply rejected it without saying anything. They just turned their car around. And so there have been many times over the last 80 years when a proper Palestinian state could have been established were it not for greedy and warmongering, bloodthirsty, religious, extremist regimes that do not want a state for their people. They just want Israel not to be a state. They don't want prosperity and thriving and quality of life for the Palestinian population. What they want is death to Jews. That's that. And that is indisputed, historical fact that all of these peace deals, over 10 of them, minor and major, were put on the table by Israel, rejected every single one. How do you explain that? Okay. Let's continue. Kunal says, if you didn't name one of your sons as Levi, then it's not a good thing. Okay, so says you. I have no idea what you're talking about, Kunal. Sounds exactly like Israel, LOL. What's your proof? Look it up, Nisar Corp. Look up how many times did Israel offer the Palestinian leadership peace. Okay? We withdrew from Lebanon. We withdrew from Gaza. We gave back Sinai. If Syria could actually guarantee that it will not raise a blaster against Israel again, the Golan Heights are also up for grabs. So, what are you talking about? Israel has demonstrated its willingness to give peace for land, make concessions, offer peace deals, make accords with Jordan and Egypt. Why do you think that is? If we won the 1967 war, not to mention giving back the Temple Mount to the Jordanian Waqf. So come on. You're full of shit. Christopher says, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to you. Mohammed says, do you believe in Jesus Christ? No, I don't. I believe he is a dead man. That's it. No more, no less. TBR says, your teachings surrounding your way of worship tell you not to worship false prophets such as Jesus. I never said Jesus was a false prophet. I said he was a contender, a potential prophet, but the spirit of prophecy was taken away from the people of Israel at the beginning of the Second Temple era. Jesus lived at the end of the Second Temple era. Ergo, he was not a prophet according to proper Israeli tradition, proper Hebrew tradition. Is there a chance the historical record has it wrong about Jesus? May he actually be who he says? Yes, it could be, but he was never crowned according to the tradition. The people never accepted him as king. The spirit of prophecy was taken away. The lower spirit of prophecy, called Ruach HaKodesh, or spirit of sacredness, remains. But the spirit of prophecy, we have not had proper prophets ever since then. Though the spirit of prophecy is poised to make a comeback any day now. But if you go with proper tradition, and the tradition might be wrong, but if you go with the proper tradition and the story of the unfolding of history in the Hebrew lens, or Orthodox rabbinic lens, I should say, then the spirit of prophecy was taken away, ergo Jesus was not a prophet. He was a potential king, he was a sage, he may have been anointed, right, but he was not accepted by the people. So he was none of those things. I consider him to be a righteous Hebrew man who lived and died like every other Hebrew man before him. The difference is that he was crucified alongside thousands and thousands that the Romans crucified. That's it. Nothing says I'm a failure and a covert narcissist like Jew hate, says E-Dog. Hey, E-Dog, good to see you here again. Kunal says, say all names of sons of Jacob. I've done that already. You asked me a few days ago and I did it. It's done. Hello, friend. Hi, Light Roof. Good to see you again. Light Hoof. Good to see you again, man. Josh says, cool. What's cool, Josh? Josh, UM2FT. Let's continue. The table, Psycho-Lyco, the table and said you should not make coin in the name of my father. Their government was like, no, we can't be on board with that, and they knocked him off. I don't know what that means. Sorry, don't know what that means. Kunal says, bro, how you went from wage worker to millionaire sounds fake story. I never said I'm a millionaire. I'm a potential millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. As for being a wage worker, yes, I was and am a wage worker. I hope at some point to start my own writing business. But right now, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Bukito Sion says, can you tell me what the most sacred place in Israel are according to Jewish people? The Temple Mount. That's what it is. Which still hold mysteries of the past, present, and future aside from the Western Wall. The most sacred place is the Temple Mount. That's the most sacred place. I've never watched Rick and Morty, says John Knoll. You know what? I watched the first couple of seasons and then I kind of tuned out. I watched a few of the episodes of the third season as well. I don't know how many are there now? Like 7 or 8, I would think. You look gay, says Riley Eskeem. Well observed. Very shrewd, Ryle or Riley. I am indeed. I'm straight, I'm lesbian, I'm gay, I'm bi, I'm a non-binary. I identify as this coffee mug, and I'm a two-spirit Hebrew. Yes. Where is your prophet? There are no prophets, Faraz. The spirit of prophecy is poised to make a comeback, but right now there are no prophets for the Hebrew people. There are prophets for the nations, but not for the Hebrew people, as far as I know. According to Jewish tradition, how would one come upon the spirit of prophecy? There are several different ways. There used to be actual schools of prophets, and by schools I don't mean places of learning, I mean that too, but schools meaning groups, like troops of actors. There were schools of prophets, Chevlei Nevi'im. And the spirit of prophecy could come upon you in many different ways. One of the classic traditional ways is meditation. The other one is music and religious dancing, right, and ecstasy. Another one is the joy. It says that Jonah, right, Jonah and the big fish, Jonah, in the writings, Jonah was celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles, Chag Sukkot, the Feast of Booths, and at the temple, and prophecy came upon him and sent him to Nineveh. That's according to tradition. That's not in the book. So, how does one come upon the spirit of prophecy? You make right your ways, inside and out. You go righteously and humbly and simply before God, and you aim towards the spirit of prophecy. Right? You rectify your wrongdoings, you abstain from sin, you live righteously. That is how it's done. If you merit it, the spirit of prophecy will come upon you. But again, the spirit of prophecy, the higher spirit, known as the spirit of prophecy, is not yet back here. What there is the spirit of sacredness, Ruach HaKodesh, which anybody can tap into in the same ways. Wish you all the best, my dude. Thank you, Untrained Exorcist. I really appreciate that. Incidentally, I'm reminding you, all of the money you give after YouTube takes its cut it goes to organizations here in Jerusalem. 100% of what ends up in my bank account ends up in charitable organizations here that serve East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem alike. Arabs, Jews, Druze, Baha'i, Rasta, Shinto, Hindu, whoever it is, whatever your skin color is, whatever comes out of your anus, I don't know, but they will help you. Individuals and families in need are served by these charitable organizations. And if you think I'm full of shit, go to the community tab. I put the receipts there, my analytics there. Once or twice I even put my bank account thing there, cropped up. You could say that it's fake. And if you still say that it's fake, I will actually send you the receipts that I got in the email from these organizations. If you want to give. I'm just the middleman. Sorry, I can't super chat. I'm kind of broke. That's okay, Kunal. I hope that you do better physically, mentally, financially, spiritually. I hope it all comes together for you, Kunal. Ashley asks, would you agree that it seems like everyone always looks for excuses and justifications to despise and attack MOT? I don't know what MOT is. Now both sides of the political aisle can all agree that we're evil. I don't know what MOTs are. Can someone tell me what MOTs are? I'm ignorant. Are you some sort of priest or something? Blick says. No, I'm not a priest, not a rabbi, not a sage, not a teacher, not a preacher, not an educated man, not a learned man. I'm not an academic or historian. I'm just a simple dumbass in the Middle East with a phone, a laptop, and a cup of coffee. L'chaim. Okay. Let's continue. Guy, you need a serious haircut, says NZZZ4977. I do? Oh, member of the tribe, MOT. Right. Cool. I probably do need a serious haircut. Unfortunately for you, Nazarites do not cut their hair. Can you help me donate to Israel, says Not Stamp Goat. Yeah, go to jgive.coil or jgive.com. Many organizations here in Israel that you can give to in shekels, in dollars, in euros. I think. What's the significance of the red heifer ceremony, and have they done it already? Have you attended one? The significance of the red heifer is that her ashes are poured into water. You then take a branch of hyssop, and you can purify those who have been defiled by human death, by corpses. The defilement of death in halacha, in the Hebrew faith, is known as the father of fathers of ritual impurity or ritual uncleanliness. There are certain things, certain rituals, and certain things that you cannot partake of unless you are ritually clean, ritually pure. This is not physically dirty or physically pure. This is not something that is a question of right and wrong. Purity and impurity are part of living in this cycle of life and nature. There is never a time when everybody is ritually pure all the time. There are levels of purity and levels of impurity, right? For instance, there's a kind of impurity that comes upon you when you sleep, because it's a type of mini-death. There is a type of impurity that comes upon you when you ejaculate, because that is also a type of a mini-death. In French, it's called petite mort. There's a type of impurity that comes upon you when you give birth or when you're menstruating. There's a type of impurity that comes upon you when you visit a cemetery or are near a dead body. So in that same way, the red heifer is the one that can purify from the defilement of death. Likewise, there is the mikveh, the ritual pool, that can purify you from other types of ritual uncleanliness. That is the significance. Have they done it already? No. Have I attended one? No. The Rabbi Nazarite here in Jerusalem, Yehoshua Friedman, he says that the ones who will slaughter and properly burn the red heifer whenever she arrives will be Nazarite priests. And that makes sense, halachically speaking, since they are not defiled by death. It was nice speaking with you, Hebrew. Thank you for your time. It's all good business. It's nice to be here with you. Thank you for participating. Thank you for viewing. Thanks for commenting. This is madness. No, this is Judah. Yes, Kunal, indeed. Just like Israel trying to purify Gaza. No, that is not true at all, Mr. Thart of War. No, we're not trying to purify Gaza. If that's what we wanted to do, the war would be over in about 2 days. But it's not. It's been years. So that's not true. The red heifer has already arrived, says Matthew. I have not been made, I don't know if it has or hasn't. I'm pretty sure it would be more widespread that even I, who stay away from news and politics and such things, would be told that it has arrived. So we will see. The people of the Temple Institute, Rav Yehoshua Friedman, the Rabbi Nazarite Yehoshua Friedman is one of them in the Temple Institute. They're working on it. But the halacha, right, the rabbinic law of the red heifer states that it cannot have more than one single hair that is not red. It needs to be completely, purely red. Para adumat mima. Are you Russian or Ukrainian Jew? Asks Nash. I'm neither, Nash. I'm a Hebrew man here in Jerusalem. So yeah. You forgot to name Dan last time. That's correct. That's correct. I did not name Dan. You are correct. Why can't Palestinians convert to Judaism? They can. Everybody can convert to Judaism unless you are a male Moabite or Ammonite. But since we don't know who the nation of Moab and Ammon are these days, anybody and everybody can convert to be Jewish. How do you pronounce Yod He Vav He and Jesus correctly as a Hebrew? Well, Yod Heh Vav Heh is not pronounced in that way. It's pronounced Adonai. We see one thing but say another. What we see it signifies the divine masculine presence. The words we actually say and the name we speak is the feminine divine presence, and so we're bringing them together. That is unity. The name Jesus, that comes from Greek, from Jesus, right? But it's actually in Hebrew Yeshua, which is abbreviated by different Jews as Yeshu, being the acronym of Yimach Shmo Vezichro, which is may his name and memory be eradicated or erased. But I call him Yeshua. I think that was his name. Sounds like double speaking. No, it's one speaking, Uriah or Juriah Lama. It's not double speak. It's the idea of seeing one thing in your mind's eye, but speaking another with your mouth. One of them represents one facet of revelation, and the other one is a different facet of revelation, and that's bringing them together. In the very same way that a man and a woman come together to create new life, the masculine and feminine divine presence come together to bring new light, if you will, and new energy into creation. That's pretty much the same thing. Jews suck, says White King. Hi, White King. Good to see you again. Yes, we do suck. I mean, some people suck better. Some people suck worse. It's a skill, right? Oral skills are skills like any other skills. You got to know how to suck. Are black Israelites legit or just crazy? I have no idea. I do not know. I don't know if black Israelites are legit or crazy, because the ones that have been in touch with me have always been very militant, very mean, very racist, and bigoted. So I have no idea if they represent them all or not. I'm inclined to say they wouldn't. Mama Luigi, can you explain to us why the rabbi has to suck my penis with a glass straw at childbirth? Well, it sucks the wound. If you want to call it the penis, that's fine. Also, it's not at childbirth. It's 8 days after birth if you're a boy, a baby boy. Pardon me. As for why, there are 3 facets to the male circumcision in the Abrahamic covenant. The first is called milah, cutting off the foreskin. The second is called bri'ah, spreading the skin. The third is called metzitza, sucking. Now, the first 2 are what need to be a kosher, right? That's what you need for a kosher circumcision. The last and final part, the metzitza, is not inherently part of circumcision. It was added on and made into halacha, but it is a kosher circumcision, even with those 2 and not the third. It's said that the physical, material reason is to help the wound heal and to hasten recovery. Although that's been debunked, if I'm not mistaken. There is also an esoteric and spiritual meaning to sucking out the blood. The moil takes some of the blood and spits it out. We do not swallow the blood. Well, I'm not a moil. The moil does not swallow the blood, right? We bury the foreskin and we spit out the blood. So that's why. Even if there is no medicinal, hygienic, recovery-related purpose to the metzitza facet of the circumcision, it's still carried out, hopefully with a glass straw and not the mouth, because there are issues of hygiene and of different bacteria and things. Not to do it with your mouth. Any moils out there, better to do it with a glass straw, a glass, a single-use apparatus, because it does have spiritual merit, even if it's not of actual medicinal, merit. Let's continue. What an insane series of sentences, Bodacious says. Yes, I am indeed insane in many ways. We're never going to survive unless we get a little crazy. Yep, that's what Seal said. Alanis also echoed it, and I'm on board with that. Who's Burger King? You know what? I'm not sure who the Burger King is. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Dort Wonder says, Baruch Hashem, blessed is the name. Yes, indeed. Blessed is the name. Thank you for clearly explaining answers, even though some people will intentionally misuse your answers. Yes, of course they will, untrained exorcists. Look, also, these are not answers, because that would be like an absolute. I address the questions that are put before me. I wouldn't presume to answer them in some sort of an absolute way. Take what I say with a big grain of hummus. Do your own research. Don't believe me. Push back against me. Challenge me. Fact check me, because I'm ignorant. So teach me, right? Widen my perceptions. Heighten my awareness with your wisdom, with your understanding, with your facts, and I will be less ignorant and grateful to you. Okay. It's hard to make you laugh, right? Says Stephen. No, I'm a pretty laughable person, and I do enjoy good laughs. Although, really, recent stand-ups that I've tried to watch, they just didn't speak to me. It was like, meh, people are laughing in the audience, I'm just sitting there, what? But okay. TBR says, in your teachings, is there anything regarding Native Americans or First Nations people? Who do they descend from according to your teachings? Also, is there a value difference from a born Jew and convert? There's a value difference. I'll answer the last first. There's a value difference in the sense that a Jew is born a Jew, but a convert chooses to fuse themselves to the nation of Israel, which makes them in some ways even higher because they didn't have to do that. They felt a call and they went with it and they went all in, and that is commendable. And that is more than just a Jew being born a Jew. In that sense, they have like a higher sort of place, or potentially speaking. As for Native Americans and First Nations people, there are traditionally 70 root nations, Israel plus 70. But so those are First Nations. In the Hebrew faith, there are 70 root nations. And they correspond to different things that have to do with 70. But I won't get into that now. As for if they are Native Americans and stuff like that and where they come from, I do not know. I do not know. So I haven't come across those teachings that connect the two, let's say. But I'm sure that they are there and that I simply don't know them. Or not. Or not. Do you support Israeli settlers in the West Bank, George Erickson? Hey, good to see you again. I think you've been here before. If they are legal settlers, yes. If they are illegal settlers that settle and steal homes, and then only then pass the law to make it legal, I do not support them, and I think that's horrible, and that practice should be stopped. But the settlements in the West Bank that are actually technically proper, kosher, ethical, moral, legal, yes, I do support that. But I also support there to be a Palestinian state for the people in Gaza. If it was up to Hamas, they would never have it. Hopefully, Hamas will be out of power. They will lay down their arms, surrender, accept their inevitable defeat, and the world, who seems to be so concerned with Palestinians' welfare yet don't really do anything about it, they will hopefully be able to constitute some sort of, establish some sort of a leadership there. So yeah. Let's continue. Why can't the mighty IDF stop these criminals? You know what? The might of the IDF, I don't think it has been unleashed on Gaza, despite the footage and despite the images coming out of there. I think that in order for the might of the IDF to stop those criminals, I think they would actually have to just drop, I don't know what, something I would not want to be dropped, because that would just kill everybody. I'm not interested in the Gazans, the innocent ones dying. I'm interested in them living life with dignity, with purpose, working for a living, raising their kids, living, laughing, loving, farting, screaming, yelling. I'm interested in them having a good life. I'm interested in making Hamas go away so that they would be offered a good life. They have been robbed and cheated of a good life by every Palestinian leader, every death cult, every terrorist regime that has ever been at the helm, be it in Gaza, in the West Bank, wherever. They were never even given a chance. It is so sad. And their young are indoctrinated to hate. The young are indoctrinated to be martyrs for the cause in order to line the pockets of their leaders with, with shekels and rubles. I know there are no rubles. And euros and dinars. So why can't the IDF do it? First of all, this is guerrilla warfare in a very dense combat, in a very dense urban, the combat is very dense urban, of the dense urban variety. Why? I don't know. I haven't served in the IDF in about 5 years. I was discharged 5 years ago. I never served in Gaza, only on the outskirts of Gaza, securing the perimeter for the forces inside. So I don't know. I've never served inside of Gaza. I served a couple of times, twice, maybe 3 times, on the outskirts of the city, or of the region. Is elephant the cutest animal? I think so. I think so. I'm a fan of elephants. They're vegetarian, they have some human characteristics, which makes them relatable. Yeah, I like them. I do. I think the Jews want to Gaza the whole earth. Really, Helmut Watson? You think so, huh? I think you're a little bit delusional. Just my thought, I might be wrong. Are you a reservist? I was Druish princess. Oh, that's all we needed. A Druish princess. That's great. Yes, I was a reservist. I was discharged 5 years ago. So yes, I was a reservist. And when the war broke out, I called my CO and I told him, if you need me, tell me and I'll come. But they did not need me, which is good, because if they need me to come back from retirement, that is not a good sign. Is there hell in Jew? No, Alfie. The Jews have no hell or heaven as a permanent place of rest or of damnation. No such thing. I also like elephants, says Compassionate. Yeah, elephants are cool. Let's continue. I want to enlist, says Matthew Payne. Not everybody can enlist, but if you can, it is a duty, a responsibility, and an honor and a privilege to do so. Just my own opinion. This guy looks entirely stable, says Dreadwin. I do? Really? What makes you think that? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Him? Yes, him. Yeah, him. What? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. And now for a message from our sponsor. Hello. Very stable. And exceedingly stable. Okay. Do you think, says my music, Gospels are false teachings? If yes, why did they catch on? FYI, I'm agnostic, so pure curiosity. I read the Gospel once in my life. I read the New Testament, the Christian Bible, only once, so far be it from me to say. Of everything in the New Testament, of the Christian Bible, I enjoyed the Gospel the most. The rest really didn't speak to me. So false teachings, I have no idea. There's wisdom there, but not faith for the Hebrew man, unless you're a Messianic, and that's their thing. So do I think it's false? I have no idea. I think that it's not part of the Hebrew Bible. I think it's part of the Christian Bible, ergo it's not a proper Hebrew text. Or you could call it like an external Jewish text from after the destruction of the Second Temple, an external book, right? But there's a reason why those things were kept out of the Hebrew Bible. And not just the Christian Bible books, but other books as well, like the Book of Maccabees, the books of Ben Sira, Josephus Flavius. Why did they catch on? I would venture a guess and say that they caught on because people want to believe that there are human beings like them who are truly divine. Because then it anthropomorphizes the divine, and then you can relate to God in some way. The Hebrew faith does not have that. In this very Torah portion of Devarim, in this very Torah portion that we will read in a few days, it says, remember, be very, very cautious. Guard yourselves closely, Moses tells the children of Israel. You heard a revelation of a voice. You saw no image. You saw no image at Sinai. You saw the fire. You heard the horn. You heard the voice. You saw no image of God. There is no revelation of an image of God to the Hebrew people, right? There's no revelation of God in an image. There's us being created in the image of God. That's not the same thing. That idea of the divine being some amorphous, unintelligible, right? Unknowable, inconceivable, untouchable thing, that is what the Torah says. Is there a revelation of a God in flesh to the nations? Maybe, but not for us. That is not our way. That is not our tradition. It caught on, I think, because the nations then could relate to this great teaching through a human being. And they called him, right, a man God, a son of God, a part of God,
Jesus.
McJesus.
No, like Jesus.
Yes, he's talking about Jesus. He's talking about the gospel in the New Testament. How Shephatiah pronounced? Like that, Shephatiah. Gordo says, you are my favorite Jew. Thanks, Gordo. I appreciate that. The ancient Hebrews, says Thart of War, traveled through the land of Sina, land of the moon. Well, again, there are traditions on where they traveled and how. The Torah specifies it, but it's not a proper consensus on exactly where they were and what they did and where the different geographical locations specified in the Torah are nowadays. There's a difference of opinion on where Mount Sinai is. There's a difference of opinion even on where, to some people, Jerusalem and the temple stood, right? So it's not exactly 100% accepted by everyone, whether the rabbis and sages or the academics and researchers. Why do Jews have crazy hair, says Michael. Oh, that's just how we roll. What do you mean crazy hair? Looking like Jew meme, says Aiden Skates. Yes, I do. I do look like a Jew meme. That's correct. Scrolling down in the chat. Do you want a greater Israel, Hessness? Hi, Hessness. No, I believe that greater Israel comes, right? I believe greatness comes from the inside. Greatness is how you speak. Greatness is how you act. Greatness is how you carry yourself in the world. That is greatness, right? The wisdom, the knowledge you have, the way you comport yourself, that is greatness. Territory, land, expansion, conquering, that does not make one great. Yoda tells this to Luke, right? Wars not make one great? Something like that. Wait, is that him? Hang on. Wars not make one great. Is that Yoda? Yes, wars not make one great. That's Yoda. That is correct. So yes. Do you know what the Greater Israel Project is? Lies is all Jews do. I do know what Greater Israel is, Brutal. All I'm saying is that A, Greater Israel was never actually realized ever in history. B, just like I said about the there not being a consensus on the borders and the places biblically, there is no consensus on where the borders of Greater Israel actually lie. And C, what I said, greatness is not from conquering. Greatness is from behaving and acting and doing in the world. Not conquering, not taking over, not expansion of territory. And D, he said D. D, if Israel wanted greater Israel, why did we recede from Lebanon? Why did we unilaterally withdraw from Gaza? Why did we give Egypt Sinai? Why did we give Jordan the Temple Mount? Why didn't we just remove the 2 mosques there and build the temple right then and there? So the people who are saying, oh, greater Israel are full of shit. Like literally, I mean, so am I, but at some point I'll go to the bathroom. These people will just carry it around. If I drop a penny, will you pick it up? Since in 20 years it might be something like just this sham religion, says Rev Bat. A penny. Likely, because there aren't many pennies here in Israel, right? With the equivalent here is agorot, or agora. Pennies, agorot. But will I pick it up? I mean, the single agora, the single penny, has not been around for, I don't know, 30 years, something like that. So I'm assuming that, yes, I would, but only because, you know, I have little kids. I wouldn't want them to put it in their mouth and to choke. Nobody's ending up in the ER today. Sham religion. Yes, religions do have as such, right? Religion does have its sham facets. But I do believe that religion has a core, a root of grace and kindness and benevolence and goodness. I believe religion, right, as such, making a very big generalization here about religion, is a path, it's a way, it's a discipline, it's a yoke, right? It's a burden that you carry that can help you see outside yourself, that can help you live not just for your own egocentric and egotistical wants, needs, whims, desires, and wishes, but for others as well, right? Being part of a community, being part of a society, being part of a religion can also help you see outside yourself. And that has very good points to it. And again, as for the hierarchy of religion and the different values and what they purport, that changes from one place and one time to the next. Brutal says, yeah, here's a tip. Don't fucking learn that shit. I don't know what you mean, Brutal Diabetes. Don't fucking learn that shit? I'm not sure what you mean. Could you specify? A system of belief. Exactly so, yeah. Can you speak any Aramaic? Only a little bit. I can read Eretz Yisrael Aramaic fairly well, but I don't speak it that well at all. I don't speak it at all, really. I can read it and understand it, but I don't speak it and I don't write it. Kim'ah. Kim'ah. A little bit. Why can't the IDF stop violent West Bank settlers who steal homes? First of all, you must understand, the IDF are executioners of policy of the government. They don't make the policy, they carry it out. Okay. The government? I don't know. Maybe the government, maybe the people in the government, and this is a big maybe because I don't know, maybe the people in government are encouraging these West Bank settler home stealers. I have no idea. I do know that there are times when the settlement is legal, and there are times when it's not legal and is made legal after the fact. And that's not cool. So I really don't know. I don't know what the IDF can or cannot do. I just know that they don't act of their own accord. They are the executioners of government policy. The hierarchy of power is about to change. Okay. Revbat says, respectfully stop mentioning me like you know me. I'm assuming you're talking to someone in the chat, but I don't know what to tell you. It's a desert. Stop fighting over sand, says So. No, it was a desert. Then Zionism, modern day Zionism that is, started to happen, and boom, the desert is blooming. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? Revbat says, this is a shorts chat. Why you have chosen to choose me out of all the others? I don't know what Revbat, my man, or my good woman. Are you talking to me or someone else in the chat? You need to specify, because I don't know what's going on. How many children have been slaughtered due to policy? It's not due to policy, it's due to Hamas. The policy is to fight against Hamas. Hamas embeds itself into the population and uses kids as cannon fodder and human shields. And so there is collateral damage. That's what happens in war. And if you don't think that happens in war, you don't know anything about war. Like, not a thing. So you have nothing to say about it. So killing kids is okay. No, killing kids is abhorrent. It's tragic. It's horrible. I mourn the loss of innocent life, be they underage or of age, elders or toddlers. If they are innocent, it's terrible that they die. It's awful. But the blood of these innocent people is not on the hands of Israel. It's on the hands of Hamas. Tell Hamas to lay down their arms. Tell Hamas to surrender unequivocally. Tell them to accept their inevitable defeat. Stop using their population as human shields. Stop putting their weapons caches and headquarters and bases in homes and schools and mosques and hospitals and have their terror tunnels run over such establishments. Tell them to stop using their population for propaganda. Tell them to stop stealing their population's humanitarian aid money. Tell them to stop inflating the prices in their black market over there for personal gain and greed. Tell them to do that instead of coming at Israel, that is fighting a defensive war against people that want to annihilate them, or leadership that wants to annihilate them, and who does everything in its power to minimize civilian casualties under incomprehensible circumstances that no other army has done or would do. So please, spare me. Truly. Okay. Bro, you are a Davidic prince? No, I'm not, Kunal. Not even close. To be Davidic, you need to be of the line of Judah. I am not of the tribe of Judah. LOL, you think people actually believe these lies? No, I'm not expecting them to believe what I say. I'm expecting them to do their own research and see the different disputes and the ongoing debate and make up their own minds. I'm not looking to be believed. I'm not looking to change anyone's mind or sway anyone's opinion, alter anyone's views. This is not a debate. This is a discussion. This is not some sort of an argument. This is discourse. It's dialogue. That's what this is. Intentional, the intention, right? Initially, it's supposed to be about faith and spirituality and religion, self-development, philosophy, psychology, and so on. But it's become a cesspool of Palestine things because for some stupid reason, I engage with you idiots, being myself an idiot. Game recognizes game. And being the idiot and dumbass that I am, I converse with other idiot dumbasses who seem to be terrorist sympathizers, who are Jew haters disguised as being on the right side of history, who support terror, and who would gladly have supported the Nazi regime of World War II had they been around there at the time, because all they see are destroyed buildings and piles of bodies. And they, from that, draw the conclusion, oh, if Gaza has less buildings now than Israel does, they must be right and Israel must be wrong. If more Gazans have died, obviously they are on the right and Israel is wrong. If there's so much destruction and death going on, obviously Gaza and Hamas are David and Israel is the big, strong Goliath. Because these people here, and I'm making another broad generalization, are idiots. And they want to have their confirmation, their biases confirmed. Again, I have great sympathy. We all have confirmation biases, but you got to do some research before you spout things off, ideally. But here, it's the interwebs. You can do whatever you want, and I dearly, dearly accept All the likes and the subs and the views and the chats and the comments and the haters and the lovers and the Nazis and the spammers and the trolls. I welcome it all. It's all lovely. It's all wonderful. It's all beneficial. You get to spew your bullshit, hate, racist, misogynistic, I don't know what. And I get to say, oh, okay, well, I think blah, blah, blee, blee, blue. And the algorithm, and YouTube gets more watch hours and advertisers are happy. People donating to charity. It's a win-win-win-win-win situation here on the Hebrew Nazarite channel. Coming at you live from Jerusalem. Raw, unscripted, unfiltered, unabashed, and unashamed. Okay. You're the Nazi, says OS. Really? I'm a National Socialist? You think so, huh? Prove it. You can't, because I'm not a Nazi. I might be a soup Nazi. Ooh, that was a big gulp. All right, I'm done with the coffee, and I think I'm going to say goodbye soon, but not yet. Watson says, well, shit, I guess he's not wrong there. I mean, no, not really. It's a win-win-win-win-win. Mr. Eric, are you on drugs? No, I'm not. I'm a fan, but I do not partake regularly of any type of drug. I mean, caffeine is a drug, so yes, I am on drugs. Caffeine is one hell of a drug. Mr. Eric says, what's wrong with this man? Is he really a Jew? I think it's time for another series of underarm farts. What do you think, people? Yeah, let's go for it. Mr. Eric, this one's for you. Ooh, there was a little plop at the end. That was fun. Okay. Are you on the Hasbara payroll, Alex B says. No, I'm not. Unless, no, I'm not. Are Muslims good? I have no idea. I'm not saying they're good or bad. I don't know anything about Muslims. I know one or two things about Islam terrorism, but I don't consider that to encompass all of Islam or all Muslims. So there you go. Ooh, pardon me. Noam says, hey HN, is faith an essential part of religion and spirituality, or can we be spiritual without faith? Well, you'll have to actually define faith, spirituality, and religion for me, and then we'll be able to have the conversation. I can't really address your question without knowing how you define those terms. Let's continue. Bro, do you consider me a hater? Kunal says, no, I don't consider you a hater. You haven't said anything hateful. You've been inquisitive and curious and asking questions, and, so that's not hateful. Was there a stand-down order on October 7th? I do not know. I don't know what happened on October 7th. I do not know. I have no idea what happened on October 7th. I really don't. Zach says, why are you a Nazir if you're not religious? Well, first of all, I don't consider myself religious. Other people might. Second of all, I'm a Nazir because I took the vow of Nazirut. That has nothing to do with being religious or being not religious. The Torah doesn't say you must be religious. The Torah says if you wish to take on this vow, if you want to take on this vow, here is how it's done. That's all that it says. There's no prerequisite to being a Nazarite other than being a man or woman of the Hebrew tribes. That's it. And I'm a Nazir because I got the call. Let's put it that way. A call that I could not ignore. And nice to see you, Zach. Nice to see you again. Who's Yishai? Is he father of Jesse? No, Yishai. Jesse is Yishai in English. TBR says, why do a lot of Jewish rabbis in New York, such as the Torah Jews, oppose what is happening in Israel regarding the conflict with Hamas and Zionism? Is there a theological difference causing that? Yes, there is. First of all, I don't know what Torah Jews are. Second of all, yes, there are those who say that modern-day Zionism is not right in the eyes of God or the Hebrew faith or the Torah, because they are saying that the spiritual needs to come before the physical, while modern-day Zionism says, no, it's the physical that comes before the spiritual. In other words, do you go with the 3 oaths of the Song of Songs, or do you go with the dry bones of Ezekiel? Do you build the foundation physically first, like the temple or the tabernacle that were built before God's dwelling came in? Or do you await for a spiritual sign or message, a divine messenger, an angel, a prophet, something miraculous to guide you there? That's the crux of the matter. That's where the people differ on the theology of whether or not the current modern day Zionism and modern day state of Israel are abhorrent in the eyes of God or are permissible and welcome in the eyes of God. That is the theological difference. How long are you staying on for the Techina? Hey, Techina. I said Techina earlier. I'm going to keep calling you Techina. Sorry, man. I just like it better. How long am I staying on for? I don't know. I think I'm about to go soon, but I don't know. World Destroyer, says McLovin. You know, I never saw Superbad. I probably should, right? Yes, I am a world destroyer. So are we all. We human beings are made in the image of God. We are co-creators. We are the movers and shakers and makers and breakers of worlds. With your deeds, with your speech, with your thoughts, with the way that you wheel and deal in the world, how you act, how you carry yourself, you know, that is what we do. That is what we are. He does IDF propaganda, says Yod Little T. Hey, Yod Little, good to see you again. Just because I espouse certain things to do with the government and the IDF doesn't mean it's propaganda. First of all. Second of all, yes, part of it is probably propaganda. The thing is, I'm very cognizant of the fact that by the time anything reaches my eyes and my ears, it already is propaganda that has passed military censorship. It already has been engineered to cause me to think a certain way, say certain things, act in a certain way. There's been editors who, you know I'm a man of words. Torah morals over laws. True morals over laws says, imagine dedicating your whole life to some random book written for profit. That's not how I see it. A. B. Dedication of your whole life to a random book that has wisdom in it does have merit. Notice I said wisdom. I didn't say faith. I didn't say religion. I didn't even say, spirituality. I said wisdom. So even if we grant that proposition and what you're saying is true and that it's just a random book, there is wisdom in that book. And I cherry pick. I'm a cherry picker. I cherry pick everything and I make no apology. And I aim to choose the righteous cherries, the good cherries, the benevolent and graceful cherries, though I miss the mark on that as well. I'm a sinner. I'm a transgressor, right? I'm fallen. I do wrong. I'm trying to do right. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to atone, but I'm also very human. The point is, imagine dedicating your whole life. Why not dedicate your life to a purpose that is higher than your own ego? Why not? Why not give that a shot? Why not take on a burden? Why not take on a yoke? Why not try to do some hard things, some difficult things? Why not? It's like, that's not all without merit. That is not all just complete BS. Really. Who's Amnon the Crown Prince? So Amnon the Crown Prince was killed by Avshalom, was it? No, who killed Amnon? Amnon raped Tamar, his half-sister, and that was horrible. And Tamar pleaded with him, and she said, we can get together. Talk to the king. He will not deny me of your pleasurable company. But Amnon feigned sickness, called Tamar. She made him some food. He raped her. And then he was killed. Was it by Avshalom, Tamar's brother? Who killed Amnon? I think Amnon died at the hands of Avshalom, but I'm not exactly sure. But yes, he died shortly after that because the Torah equates that sort of a thing, right? The Torah equates rape with murder in some ways, right? In the Torah. Certain types of rape, anyway. Little Misfit, what's everyone's problem? Well, that's a whole other stream in and of itself. But people, do you have a problem? Shout it out. Share it in the chat. Keep it anonymous if you want, sure, but yeah. Greetings, says Joe Watt. Have you listened to Daryl Cooper's Fear and Loathing in the New Jerusalem? No, I have not, but that sounds interesting. Paige says, as you consider who to vote for in August, what will be your main considerations? I'll know them when I see them. My main consideration will be, I have to say, those who could viably somehow bring justice and peace and love to the region. I don't know how that will come about. I don't know who would be so foolish as to say that they could pull that off. But notice I didn't even say security. I said justice and peace and love. I don't know if anybody will actually go with that as part of their platform. I really don't know. Jim Morrison, hey, good to see you again, man. I dislike your principles on Zionism and war, probably because you have never been to a war zone, but that's okay. I admire your commitment to open dialogue. Thank you. I am committed to that. Sometimes evil people can have some good parts. Yes, I have evil parts and I have good parts. I hope you turn more to your good parts from evil. May it be so, Jim Morrison. That is a worthy prayer. Thank you for that. Dylan says, you are who you are. You say you are God. Dylan, what are you talking about? Never did I claim that I'm God. No wife for love? Sad, said So Sad Man. You have no wife? You're looking for a wife? Yes, I believe you in the What Are Your Goals community tab. You said you want a wife. That is a worthy cause. I really hope you're able to find your counterpart. Notice, I don't say soulmate. I don't believe in soulmates. And I say this as somebody who met his wife at 16, right? And married her at 20. I still don't believe she's my soulmate. I believe we have many different soulmates corresponding to the place and level of where our soul is insofar as how we carry it out and manifest it and express it in the world. It corresponds to that. So I really do hope you find your counterpart, your wifey. I really do hope. Take a shower, bro. I do, Jason Castro. I shower regularly, but I keep my beard wild and my hair wild, though I try to keep both clean. Right? I shampoo, I condition, I put a hair mask occasionally, and I moisturize my beard. So, yeah, it's wild, but clean. There is such a thing. Just because it looks all messy doesn't mean that it's full of rotten gook. Beep Boop says, how can I learn to speak Hebrew? I don't know. Ask people who have learned it. The only one who I've known online to properly speak it without living in Israel is James Larisha, the radical Torah supremacist, who I think is still in the process of converting. He was incarcerated for a few years, and so he took the time to learn Hebrew, and he knows it very well. The Torah is sweeter than honey. Indeed, Omar. Indeed. That is true. How do I become a Jew, Pat Chris? You convert. That's how you become a Jew. Sideshow Bob. Yes, if I had a rake here, CW. I love Sideshow Bob. Why Shimon and Levi a duo? Because they both come from what's called the left side, right? But one of them is on the higher left and one of them is on the lower left, right? Both of them signify divine judgment. Both of them signify the left hand, the left pillar, the hand that withholds, the hand that pushes away, right? Unlike the open hand that's always giving, on the right, it is the counterpart, right? The left hand, the left side. You're Jewish, says user JX. Yes, I am. And what about you, JX? Are you Jewish? Is Hebrew today audiologically the same as ancient Hebrew? Audiologically, there are differences in pronunciation. Likewise, there are some people who kept the throat het and ayin, right? The het and the ayin sometimes are there. For some people, it's het and ayin. For some people, it's het and ayin. So there are different pronunciations there. There's also the idea of the taf and the saf in Ashkenazis, as it were, right? That's dual, right? That's hard and soft, just like shin sin, kaf chaf, resh resh. There's also in the resh too. There's resh and resh. There's resh and resh and resh. It's not exactly 100% the same because of differences in pronunciation and exile and everything that went on there. So no. So how do I convert? You speak to a local rabbi who will be able to convert you. Brutal says you don't become a Jew, you be a good person instead. I agree. Nobody's asking everybody to be Jewish. The Jews don't want everybody to convert. The Jews don't want the world to be Jewish. The Torah is like, be a good person. So Brutal Diabetes, on that we are on board. You don't need to become Jewish. If you get the call, and you get it repeatedly, and you find that it's truly something that you are called towards, by all means, do not ignore the call inside of you that is calling you to join the tribes. However, if it's just something where you want to become a better person, you want to serve God better, you want to go with the law and lore of the Bible, yeah, be a good person, be righteous, be humble, be simple, walk before God plainly, right? And try to do good in the world. I agree with that. Let's continue. For Josh Blazin says, you're a good goy. Yes, I am. I'm part of a nation, right? Goy means nation. Noam says, what's your favorite part about living in Jerusalem? I mean, just the fact that the energy in this city is all it's such a mixed multitude of cultures and people, and it's a big melting pot. First of all, it's the largest by size and population. And second of all, there's just a lot going on here all the time, religiously and artistically. The municipality here, there's always a festival going on. There's always something going on in this city. It's never asleep. You know what I'm saying? It's never asleep. Let's continue. You like a guy that has a lot of mushrooms, says Zach Clough. I am a fan of mushrooms. I partake of them very, very sporadically. But yeah, I'm definitely a fan of mushrooms. Yod Little says, capital of LGBT, God very proud, I guess. Assuming you're referring to Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is one of the more gay-friendly places in the world. And it's not Jerusalem that's the capital. I'd say it's Tel Aviv, or, Jaffa, Tel Aviv, Yafo. As for God very proud, again, lumping all of those people together in an acronym, I'm against that. Also remember, the written Torah says the only act that is actually not permissible is full penetrative anal sex between two Hebrew men. That is what is not permissible according to the Torah. Our sages, the oral Torah, rabbinic law, halacha, later expand on that and say everything leading up to that and the intimate acts that could lead up to that are also prohibited. Some people go so far as to say that two men living together is also prohibited. So those who differentiate between oral law and tradition, oral law and written law and the tradition of the rabbis, you have a lot to go on there. The Torah does prohibit that particular act, but it doesn't tell you who to love, it doesn't tell you who to have feelings for, it doesn't tell you who to be attracted towards. You know what I'm saying? Sporadically, is that a mushroom joke? Hey, you know what? I didn't even think of that. But yes, Rick, it is. It's very funny. The Torah is demonic, says Animal Farm Finale. I loved that book. What a book. Whew. No, the Torah is not demonic. The Torah over here in its physical garments in this world is a Torah of good and evil that corresponds to the world of knowledge of good and evil that we are a part of. It was written by people for people, right? Brought down from Moses. Moses wrote it down in a scroll, an actual Torah. He wrote 13 scrolls of Torah, gave them to the different tribes, put one next to the Ark of the Covenant. That is the Torah, more or less, that we have now, with minimal changes over the years. So, if you want to say, I glitched? Yes, I glitched, but I'm live. If you're saying that the Torah is demonic, you also say that it is angelic, right? Because it has the right and the wrong, the left and the right. It has the positive, the negative, the yin, the yang, the masculine, the feminine, right? It has the benevolent parts and the malevolent parts. The question, as always, is what lens do you view the Torah through? What is it that you are looking for? Seek and you shall find, right? So if you're looking for the negative parts, the hateful parts, the mean parts, the racist parts, the bigoted parts, the genocidal parts, you'll find them there. And if you're looking for the good, the kind, the graceful, the benevolent, the merciful, the charitable, you'll find it there too. So if you choose to look at the hateful parts of Torah and say the Torah is demonic, fine. But if you also want to open your eyes a bit and take things in context and with nuance and understanding in the broader sense, you will see the Torah also has a lot of merit. And then it comes down to, now what? What is it that you are choosing? What is it that you are doing? Are you using the Torah as a club to beat other people over the head with? Or are you using it as a guide, right, and a candle before you to light the way towards that inner and outer kingdom of God, as it were? To make yourself that vessel to bring and manifest and express the unique image of God in which each and every one of us was created. You see what I'm saying? Because the Torah has it all. The Torah has it all, the good and the bad. The map is not the territory, says Lil Misfit. None of these words mean anything. I'm not sure what you mean. By your logic says, what if I just don't give a shit and realize all religions have some pretty evil shit in their foundational texts? It's all more nuanced than that. F Israel, though. First of all, if you don't give a shit, that's all well and good. If you have the realization that pretty evil shit exists in religion, I agree. But also countering that, some pretty good stuff too. And that's what I choose to focus on, the love and not the hate. As for it's all more nuanced than that, yes. As for F Israel, yes, I agree. Israel deserves a good fuck. Israel deserves to be brought to orgasm multiple times. Thank you for concerning yourself with the sexual pleasure and well-being of Israel. Please spam. Hey, Cake is here. Not Cake, Kaka. You're back here. So he's spamming the SS, lightning bolts. So that's a little racist, but it's good because the more the algorithm sees engagement, it doesn't care if it's positive or negative, it just sees more engagement in the chat. So by all means, do that. Spam, all of you, right now. Spam the lightning bolts. I'll do the same. Here. Hang on a second. I'll copy and paste. Ah! Hang on a second. Come on. The chat is moving too quickly. Come on. Wait. Here we go. Wait. Ah! Hang on a second. Ah, there you go. I did it too. Cool. Ah, this is nice. I'm enjoying myself. It's been just over 2 hours. Hello. So, I'm going to say a quick aside to say thank you, those watching now, those watching later. Shout out to the replay crew. I deeply appreciate your time, your kind and gentle attention, the likes, the subs, the views, the chats, the comments later. If I missed you in the chat, please do leave a comment. Hit me up in the DMs if you want, Hebrew Nazarite. Look for my tree on X, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And, the trolls and the spammers and the Nazis and the haters, the vitriol slingers, the insulters, the lovers, the encouragers, the ones who are, actually asking questions of substance, the ones who are asking questions of less substance, and the ones who are for the underarm farts, the ones who see it as plain craziness. I deeply appreciate it. Let's keep going. Noam says, thanks, HN, you're the man. I try to be a man. I'm not 100% a man yet. Hopefully, by the time I breathe my last breath and my body goes into the cold, cold ground, hopefully by then I truly will be manifesting manhood in fullness. Until then, I'm just trying. Okay. Let's continue. Is shepherding a fun job or terrible? I've never been a shepherd, but it is a difficult job, a very dangerous job, especially way back when. Nowadays, probably not. Just brush your hair, bro. Bible says you have to do self-care. First of all, the Nazarite wooden hat, the Nazarite is not allowed to use a brush or a comb. So I'm not allowed to brush my hair with a brush. Second of all, I do self-care. I care for myself, I clean myself, I groom myself, I have personal hygiene. I'm a fan of all that. The hair and the beard, I let them do their own thing. Pretty much. A lot of spammers here in the chat today. Elo says, I don't know anything about you, sir, but what is going on? Well, we are having an open discussion on faith and spirituality, religion, self-development, psychology, philosophy, underarm farts, underleg farts, cups of coffee, and lightning bolts. So, or if you want to bring up a different topic or argument, bring it in. It's all good. Do you miss eating raisins? Yes, I do, John Archer. I really do miss eating raisins. I miss eating grapes. I miss drinking wine. I used to love having milk chocolate and raisins. I had to substitute that for dark chocolate and cranberries. Reminiscent of it. But yes, I do. Do you fear your wife? Not enough. If I truly was in fear, and I mean that in a positive sense, if I truly was in awe and in fear of my wife, I would treat her better. I do want to treat her better. If you're watching, doll, how you doing? She's probably working right now. Okay. You claim to be, you are who you are, meaning I am who to be God. Again, I don't know what you're saying, Jane. Jana Chakraborty. I really don't know what you're saying. You can spam and spam and spam and spam. It doesn't make me understand it. Dumb it down for me. Explain it to me like I'm 5. I'm ignorant. I'm stupid. I'm foolish. I'm a dumbass. So do me a favor and dumb it down for me a few shades, huh? Rick says, we all know what happened to Samson after he cut his hair. Yes, we did. I only spam because the chat moves so damn fast and you still haven't read one of my comments. Sorry, Pros9. Ironically, I'm reading this one. I'll scroll back up a little bit. Pros. Scrolling up. Oh man, so many spammers. Scrolling up. Scrolling up. B sings, do you cut your hair? No, I don't. I haven't had a haircut in about 18 years. Pros, man, I'm sorry. I don't see. Oh, is ruach inherently feminine? No, that's not ruach. Is the rausch. I don't know what rausch is, my man. I have no idea what rausch is. Have you ever held a real job? Yes, I've held plenty of real jobs, Rick. Plenty. And I'm looking to be self-employed at some point soon. Okay. Was Jesus racist to be Nazarite? Tarun says. I have no idea. You'll have to ask a Christian. Second of all, Nazarites are not racists. Nazarites are men and women of Israel who took on a Nazarite vow. Being racist has nothing to do with it. You can be racist without being a Nazarite, and I dare say many people are. Kaka says, you are gay. Again, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm exceedingly gay. Yes, I am. Why Shimon didn't challenge Shem to a single combat if he's so powerful? Because he defiled Dinah, and so they wanted to eradicate the entire city. That's actually what it says in the text. You're asking, Kunal, why Shimon did not simply go one-on-one? That's not what they wanted. They wanted the leader to be destroyed and all of the males in the city. And that's also why Jacob was angry with Shimon and Levi. Although, again, the higher and lower left pillar, Shimon did it just for vengeance, Levi did it for a more spiritual purpose. That is why later on, Shimon does not receive a proper individual blessing, while Levi does. Okay. Watson says, let's be honest, if we think Jews are the problem, we're not really talking about this guy. I mean, I'm a thorn in many people's sides. I'm a problem in many people's view, and that's fine. This is the internet. We're all going to be somebody else's problem. Nobody's ever going to like everybody all the time. It's futile to think that I would be liked by everybody all the time. I'm not aiming to do so. I'm just spitting my own stuff. If it resonates with people, or if they want to have a conversation about it, that's great. I think that many people do consider me to be the problem, regardless of being Jewish or not Jewish. But I appreciate the sentiment. White King says, I hate this clown. Yes, White King, you could. I know this is highly controversial. You could just scroll away. I'm not banning you. You know that. There's no mods here, no bans here, no timeouts here, no filtering or censoring here beyond YouTube's minimal censorship that it does of its own accord. But if you hate this clown, and I am indeed a clown, then scroll away. Scroll away. And if I end up again, scroll away again and teach that algorithm not to show me to you ever again. That's how it'll learn. Scroll away. That's it. Okay. You have a Instagram? Yes, I do. Hebrew Nazarite on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok. I don't post there much or at all, but I'm there for the DMs. That's what I'm there for. Banned from 109 countries for no reason. That is false, Zero the Hero. We have not been banned from 109 countries. We've been banned from between 15 and 20 countries, and not banned, simply kicked out. This includes the Muslim Arab countries after 1948 and the establishment of Israel. And we have been kicked out of individual cities, counties, different cities and towns and villages and so on. But 109 countries is anti-Jewish Nazi propaganda, meaning that the Nazis adopted it as part of their ongoing propaganda. There weren't even 110 or 9 nations at the time when this came out. Definitely not 109 that we were kicked out of. So that is demonstrably historically false and inaccurate. And that's simply you parroting Nazi propaganda and Jew-hating rhetoric. And again, I have some sympathy. Maybe you're a Nazi Jew hater. But it's still inaccurate. So if you're going to come at the Jews, and you're going to hate me for being Jewish, and you're going to come at me with Nazi propaganda, at least come up with something plausible that someone could say, oh really, let's look it up, and not find out you're full of shit, because that really pulls the rug out from under your entire argument. So, if you want to say that Jews have been kicked out of countries, if you want to say between 15 and 20 countries, and a variety of towns, villages, counties, and cities, and so on, yes, do that. That is a good thing to say. That actually has some basis in reality. Being kicked out of 109 or some say 110 countries, that's simply inaccurate, and it really weakens your position. Okay. Correct, must put reality before falsehoods. Yes, that's right. I'm Jewish too, it's okay. Yes, indeed, Alexander, it is okay, Amanda Alexander. What are famous energy drinks in Israel? I mean, there's XL, there's Monster. I don't know. I've never had a blue. I've never really had an energy drink. I tasted it once. I never drank an energy drink. You know what? I never did. After years, I'm like, give me a sip. Ugh. Did not enjoy it. Did not enjoy it. I have a question, says Dylan. Ask away. Freedom for Palestine, says Jack's Natural. I agree. Freedom from their oppressive religious death cult regime dictatorships. Freedom from war. Freedom from oppression. Freedom from religious, extremism. Thank you for supporting Israel, Jack's Naturals. Thank you for supporting the just war that the IDF is conducting against the terrorist regimes. Who cares who is a Jew, says YouTubeless. Many people do, unfortunately. You a Nazi, says Kaka. Really? Do share. What have I said that is even close to being Nazi propaganda? I'll wait. Jews projecting again, if you say so, but I have a feeling, no. They don't have freedom since 1948, Yod says. Again, that is a misconception, because the original Palestinians were the Jews, the Judeans. That's what Rome did. They called this place the Roman province of Syria, say it with me, Palestina, meaning that the Jews of the Second Temple were the original Palestinians. Also, after World War I, when the Ottoman Empire fell and the British Empire received the mandate of Transjordan and Palestine, all the Jews here were with Palestinian passports as well, meaning however you want to choose to splice it up and look at it, Jews are also Palestinians. Aw, does that hurt your feelings? Does that mess with your head? Okay, let's continue. Do you visit the wall daily? No, I don't. I don't visit the wall at all. I have a love-hate relationship with the Western Wall. Zionism is kind of like National Socialism, but no, it really isn't. It isn't. I mean, you could categorize it as a national movement with socialist elements because modern-day Zionism was started by secular, socialist, communist, ideas and thinkers, and it is a movement of the nation towards its ancestral home. Technically speaking, it's a national movement that incorporates parts of socialism within it. But the National Socialist movement of Nazi Germany and the Third Reich, there's no comparing that de facto to what Israel and modern-day Zionism is carrying out in Israel. So in that sense, no, it's not the same at all, though technically I do understand where you're coming from. You can guarantee all the haters live in Mummy's basement, says Take Time and Pause. Hey, Pause, how you doing? Good to see you again. Answer my question, says Wooden Hat. Okay, I'll try and scroll up and see it. Wooden Hat. I don't see. Scrolling. Though the streams are swollen, keep them doggies rolling, right. I don't see it, man. There's too much in the chat. I don't see it. I really don't. I don't know what you said. Maybe try again. Or again, if I miss you in the chat, I'm sorry. Leave a comment. And we'll be able to, do it there. You are so childish. Yes, I am. I'm a little girl. You believe in fairy tales because you yourselves are incapable of living your own lives, Hijo says. First of all, thank you for referring to me in the plural. Second of all, fairy tales, even if we do say that all of the Bible is fairy tales, ask the psychoanalysts. Ask the people of old, right? And ancient fairy tales have meaning. Fairy tales are archetypal stories that have great wisdom embedded in them. So however you choose to look at it, if not faith and religion, there's wisdom in the Bible. There is wisdom in these archetypal stories. So just because you choose to throw the baby out with the bathwater doesn't mean that I do. So I'm willing to accept what you're saying. Yes, it's all fairy tales. There's a reason why these fairy tales have survived. And while the simple fact of the longevity of a story does not validate it or give it any kind of wisdom, the fruit bespeak the root. And we see certain things that came into the world due to the nature of these stories, some of them good and some of them bad, but I choose to focus on the good, and I choose to focus on the love and not the hate, on the peace and not the war. You see what I'm saying? So, Joe, I am indeed childish. It's one of my greatest aspirations to rediscover childhood through old age as I go along. Being a father takes me a long way towards doing that. The kids really keep me young, and I love that. I really do. At some point, they won't all, they won't be kids anymore. I have a couple that aren't. I have a couple that are. So at some point, none of them will be children, and I will have to, once again, do it on my own. This is something that Torah facilitates. This is something that the lore of the tree of life facilitates, right? You're a kid, you become an adult, but then you become a kid once again, right? You rediscover the child you left behind. Speaking of psychoanalysis and fairy tales. So Hijo, you can call me childish. I'm fine with that. Let's see. Please notice my question, says Nate. I just want to know if you had to have a Marvel superpower, what would it be? A Marvel superpower. Whew. I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I think the ability to fly would be pretty cool, but I really don't know. Joe Watt says, I think you could create interesting content critiquing Daryl Cooper's Fear and Loathing in New Jerusalem. But see, I'm not a critiquer. I'm not here to provide a critique. You know, I'm not in the same way that I'm not a debater. I don't think anybody cares about my opinion. But maybe some people would. I don't know. That was one last drop. Do you know the tale of Emperor Caligula the Wise? I know of it, but not well enough. I'm not well versed in it enough, Kunal. I don't remember it well enough, I mean. Josh says, drinking blood. Yes, what about it? Jews were kicked out of Spain for letting in the Muslims. Look up the gates of Toledo. It sounds familiar. It does sound familiar. Jews were kicked out of Spain. I'm pretty sure Jews were kicked out of Spain because of the Christian kingdom. Wasn't it the Spanish and the... Who was it? Was it Spain and... Someone wanted it. One of the kings or queens, and they wanted to have a union of their daughter. The queen and king of Spain kicked out the Jews as a favor to a different king and queen who they were going to marry. It was a marriage thing. It was part of a marriage thing. Or I might be mistaken. Hayden says, question, what are some questions I can ask my Jewish biology teacher when my sophomore year starts next year? That's up to you, my man. What are you talking about? I really don't know what you mean. What are some questions you can ask? Come up with your own questions. I'm a fan of biology. My mother is a researcher and a doctor of microbiology. So the Hebrew faith and biology go hand in hand as far as I'm concerned. My mother very famously says to me, or has said to me in the past, that it's through her studies, many decades of studies in the innermost parts of cells and the microorganisms and so on, that she saw divinity in the slightest and smallest of things. She sees that as incontrovertible proof of the divine and intelligent design. Inquisition, says Vigil. What about it, Vigil? Hi, good to see you again. Junkie Jews, says MS. Yes, I am indeed a junkie. I love junk. I love your humor. It has the essence of Groucho Marx. Thank you, President Pio. I can't believe I said that without my cigar. Thank you. I really appreciate that, man. I love Groucho. I love all the Marx brothers, but Groucho, man. Yeah, I mean, whenever he's mentioned, I say his famous line, right? The secret to life is honesty and fair dealing. If you can fake that, you've got it made. Let's not confuse Christianity versus Christendom. What's the difference? 333 comment. I'm curious. What do you know about Isaiah 53? Says Jippers that it is a chapter in the book of Isaiah and that it speaks of the children of Israel. That's what it is. Do you live with your wife? Yes, I do, Kunal. Need a Jewish mentor to learn business, says Soul 2006. All right, get one. Get one, definitely get one. Baruch Hashem, says Anak. Shalom Anak, how you doing? Blessed is the name. Blessed is the name. Scrolling down. What do I do, says X Karasu. What do I do about my homie being hung? You congratulate your homie and ask him to keep it to himself. Unless you're into that, then go for it. I wish I had your hair, but I'm bald, says K4. That's okay. Maybe at some point I will also be bald, so it's all good. A Jew talking about fairness, says Nico Demosnik. Yes, is it so far-fetched? What do you think of Netanyahu, said the hardcore casual. You've been here before. Good to see you again. I think I've answered this question, maybe even the last time you asked. If it was you, if not, I don't know. I get asked this all the time. I think he needs to go. That's what I think of him. He needs to go. Nate says, if I ever make a flying device like a mini jetpack, I'll send you one. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Question says, Anon, which Muppet character do you look like if you film your head talking while doing a handstand? Oh, wow. If I film my hand while doing a handstand. I don't know. If the beard would be up, who would I look like? I don't know. What Muppet would I look like? What Muppet has this on their head? That's the question I'm asking myself. I meant to do a live stream with your wife. No, she's not a fan of live streaming. She's never done it, and I don't think she ever will. So, yeah. At least not on YouTube. You look like Pam Bondi. Are you related? I don't know who that is, Bull Monkey. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. I really have no idea. Joe Watt says, it's a wonderfully empathetic tale of the refounding of Israel as a home nation, and even explains pogroms. It seems there's a social media campaign to ramp up pogroms in modern day. Pogroms are always ramping up. Always. It takes so little to incite the dormant Jew hatred, and certainly when already the pilot light is lit, to make it a roaring flame. People will hate Jews. Jew hatred is a time-honored tradition. Jew hatred is a shape-shifting phenomenon, right? They're too rich or too poor. They're too religious or too secular. They integrate too much or don't integrate enough. They are in the top places in industry and authority and government, or they are the lower subversive element, that the revolutionary element. It's like people will choose whatever they want, however they want, in order to blame the Jews for their problems, world problems. We are just the scapegoat of the world, and the scapegoat traditionally is a holiday of atonement, ritual worship from the time of the temple. That's what that is from Yom Kippur. Why do you have an American accent? Jim Morrison asks. Because my parents are from New York. They had all their kids here in Israel. They taught us English. I'm teaching my kids English, hence why they also have an American accent. That is why. Answer my question, Canaanite, says Raven. Why does the Talmud say Jesus is boiling in a boiling lake of shit? First of all, it doesn't say lake. It says bor. That's a pit. Right? It says bor shel tzoar o tachat, if I'm not mistaken. So, yes. I think, first of all, that's not rabbinic law to believe that. It's not binding. I don't believe that. I believe he is a righteous man who lived and died. That's it. He's a dead man. And Jews don't believe in hell as an eternal thing. So even if there was such a punishment, it's probably already done. And why does the Talmud say this? I don't know for a fact. I would presume, I'm making a very broad assumption here, that because the Talmud was sealed in the 4th century of the Common Era, or around thereof, and that's where Christianity was gaining a lot more traction in earnest, and after the Roman Empire, I think, already converted to Christianity with Constantine and so on, that the opinion in the Talmud that is against Yeshu HaNotzri, right, Jesus, the Christian, or Jesus of Nazareth, first of all, it's not even clear that that's the same Jesus, but that's beside the point. If you do claim it's the same Jesus that is spoken of in the Christian Bible, the reason why some militant sage would say that is because they wanted to sway people away from Christianity. How do you do that? You attack the founder. Even though Jesus was a Jew, right? Yeshua was a Jew who lived and died as a Jew. He wasn't a Christian. Those who followed him were not Christians either. They were Jews who saw him as Messiah, and they were called Nazarenes. Only much later did the people become Christians, right? And the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church and all that. But the reason why the Talmud says that, I would think, is because some sage's opinion had to be in there in order to keep people away from Christianity. How do you do that? You attack their God. Their God is Jesus, so you say that Jesus is boiling in a pit of boiling excrement. But first of all, as I said, it's not rabbinic law to believe that. It's not binding to believe that. Second of all, I don't believe that at all. I believe he is simply a dead, righteous Hebrew man, no more, no less. And that's it. But as for why, that would be my opinion, but I can't tell you for sure. I really don't know. Do you know who's Augustus Caesar? I know of him. I don't know much about him. Yes. Yod says, when you take the A from Yeshua, the name doesn't have the same meaning. I agree. That's true. If you take the Ayin away from Yeshua, it becomes Yeshu. People say Yeshu because it's an acronym for Yud Shin Vav Yimach Shmo V'Zichro, meaning may his name and memory be eradicated or erased. That's also why I don't say that. I'm not of the opinion that his name and memory should be erased. I think he was a good guy who did good things, who spoke Torah to the people. The fact that people turned him into a god, the fact that people saw him as a god in flesh, that's on them. In the gospel, I don't see him purporting to be God in any way, shape, or form, though I might be mistaken. I might be misled. I only read it once. Where in Israel are you living? In Jerusalem. It's freezing. In Jerusalem. Do you like, asked Michael, do you like listening to music? Very much so. What type of music do you enjoy? I enjoy classic rock, psychedelic rock, some alternative rock. Pink Floyd and Radiohead are my two great loves in music, but I listen to all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. Question, says Phantom, do you consider all Palestinians terrorists? No, I consider terrorists to be terrorists. Do you consider them all evil? No, I consider evil to be evil. This question includes women and children. Yes. Your arms are twigs, says Lucifer is king. Yes, it's true. I am a little bit of a stick man, as you can see, but it's difficult for me to gain mass, be it fat or muscle. I am working on maintaining right health and wellness. I do train in the gym regularly, but it's difficult for me because it's probably a calories thing, right? And also I follow a plant-based diet, and I could probably do more and take more calories in than I do and eat in excess and all that. But all I care about is maintaining my health and my wellness. And if I do manage to gain a little bit of muscle, which I am, by the way, over the recent months, then, all the better. I would like to be a little bit more filled out, and I'm working on it. The thing is, because I have limited time in the morning, then I have limited time to work out. And so I work, I run, I lift weights, I do a few machines, I cycle, and then I say goodbye. And I alternate. Today, first of all, today I was supposed to do push-ups and sit-ups. I'll need to go to the gym later. Point is, I alternate, arms, chest, abs, legs, but it's difficult for me to gain muscle. My arms, believe it or not, there is a little bit of a bicep here. You may be able to see it, right? But yeah, I am indeed, it takes a long time for me to gain muscle mass. That much is true. So yes, I am a twig, and my arms are twigs. That is correct. Bro, it's impossible to build muscles with vegan diet. False. It's not impossible in the least. It's just that I don't care enough about my diet to really, really aim towards it. And the supplements that I take are very minimal. I take B12 regularly and vitamin D when I have to. If I really wanted to bulk up, I would buy vegan protein shake crap and do that every day. I don't. So it's, but I'm fine. As long as I stay healthy and well and am able to maintain my health and wellness, that's enough for me. And if I happen to gain some muscle, that's all welcome. I do want to fill out a little bit right over here. And I am getting, week by week, I'm getting my abs back. I'm getting my abs back. I am becoming more toned. I am becoming more pronounced in the chest and the abdominal muscles. Not as fully as I would want to yet. So long story short, I'm a twig man, but I'm working on it. I don't mind being a twig man. Hey, you're in Haifa. That's great, man. Good for you. This guy eats meat, just not literally. Yes, this is true, Joe Mama. Thank you, Canaanite. Sorry for spamming. Now I need to find a Christian to explain why Revelation says they'll be exposed as a synagogue of Satan. So I've met Christians who consider the modern-day Jews to be synagogue of Satan. I've met Christians who say it is false Christians who are the synagogue of Satan. I don't know who to believe, if at all. I don't care who the synagogue of Satan is, because Christians see Satan or the devil as some sort of a rebellious Luciferian type of angel, but that's not the way it is in the Hebrew faith at all. Satan literally in Hebrew means adversary. Satan is the Hebrew name for adversary. That is what it is. It is also a most noble servant of the Most High God. I have nothing against the adversary. He is doing his job. I need to do my job. Both of us are serving God in the way that we can. Ooh, pardon me. He said vegan protein shake. He's honest. Yes, I try to be honest. There's the whey protein crap, and there's the vegan protein crap. But I don't partake of either crap. Though I do take a crap, I don't partake of crap. though I probably should if I want to gain and bulk up a little bit, but that's okay. I don't want to be at the mercy of any shakes or supplements or things, if I'd want it to happen naturally and organically, because there's something a little bit vain about bulking up for the sake of bulking up, There's something vain about that. I do love working out. If I happen to bulk up a little bit more naturally, organically, I would consider that a win. To bulk up for the sake of looking better aesthetically, it has its... a part of me wants that, of course. Not to be buff, and ripped, but to be a bit more filled out in the chest and the arms. But if it doesn't happen and I maintain my health, that's all well and good. It's well and good. Jews follow a false god, says Wooden Hat. Yes, I'm sure you think they do. That's great. And? Snuffleupagus is not a Muppet. Not really. He is, I suppose. He's more of a monster, not a Muppet. But yeah, I suppose he is also a Muppet. Yeah. Deity of Wind says, I have a question. Is there a reason why Zionists in specific sometimes target Christians? That Zionists don't target Christians. I don't know what you're talking about. Is it a fascism thing or a religious extremist vein in specific? Do you happen to know? First of all, what do you mean by target? In what way are Christians targeted? Also, what makes you think that Zionists target Christians, especially because plenty of Christians are Zionists who believe that the people of Zion returning to Zion hails the second coming of their Messiah? I really don't know. You'll have to dumb it down for me a bit, explain it to me a bit more in detail, and then we'll be able to know. Do you believe in Jesus as our Lord and Savior? Dozer Edit says. Hey, chat, let him know. Do I believe in Jesus as Lord and Savior? Do you believe in Jesus as God? Chat, answer, Dozer, would you? Do you like chips and salsa? Yes, I do, Omar. I really, really do. Zionists also target Orthodox Jews, right? No, many Orthodox Jews are Zionists. So what are you talking about? I really don't know what you're talking about, user who has no enemies. Oh, you have no enemies, huh? Wait a little. You probably will. Though I hope you don't. What are your thoughts on anti-Semitic Zionists? People who are for Zion but hate Jews? I don't know how that quite goes hand in hand. Could you explain it to me? I really don't know how that goes together. What does the Torah say Jesus' punishment is? The Torah does not mention Jesus ever, not even a little. The Talmud, an opinion in the Talmud mentions Jesus, but not the Torah. Bro, just because you don't want to build muscle, don't call building muscle or protein shake crap. That's low-key projecting. No, by crap I mean, obviously it's not crap. Those are nutrients you're taking into your body, amino acids that help you build more muscle. That is a welcome thing. By crap, I didn't mean it's actual crap. I meant, stuff. Crap in the sense of stuff, not in the sense of crap. I have no problem with people who bulk up. I have no problem with people who are all about those gains. I have no problem at all. And you could say it's me projecting because I haven't done enough to do it, and I'm not yet at my goal, if I had one, that I'm projecting. I'm willing to accept that that might be a possibility. It could very well be, Kunal, that if I was one of those people who got into drinking shakes and spent more time on calorie counting and, eating in excess and getting into all that and calculating my moves and starting to write down different things, and reps and sets, and I just didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to do that. I suppose that's why I didn't mean to belittle those who work on their physique. I have tremendous respect for people who work out. It is a discipline. It is a commitment. It is so freaking difficult to work out and stay in shape. It is. It really, really is. And I say that as somebody who has seen people start and stop, people who say, oh yes, I know, I wish, and then don't do it. Now, some people might say, no, what do you mean? You just do it. You just be the person who does that. Say that to yourself. Don't wait for inspiration. Put on the discipline. That is hard. It's hard work to work out. It's hard work to maintain a physique. It's hard work to bulk up and gain and achieve. It means a relentless pursuit of your goal day in and day out. It means supplements. It means shakes. It means calorie counting. It means watching yourself and disciplining yourself. And that is hard. So I have the greatest admiration. It's commendable, the people who are able to do it. So maybe it is me projecting a little bit. Thank you for calling me out on that. I'll try not to say that in the future, though please be, I understand that I meant as in stuff and not as in crap. Okay. Josh says, Israel is known for weed. Yes, it is. Do you partake? No, I do not. I did partake for many years, and I have since not. I don't rule out doing it again in the future, but I do not partake of the herb on any regular basis. What do you think would happen, says LD Rossophilia Phyla. What do you think would happen to Israel if America stopped supporting the economy or manufacturing weapons? I don't know, but I'm inclined to think Israel would be able, by the grace of the Most High and the sweat and blood of its people, to stand firm. That's what I think. Are you a Jew? Dozer says. Yes, I am, Dozer. Well observed. Have you ever visited the Negev Desert? Yes, many times. I've also served a lot there when I was in the army. The Hitaot Canaanite, I'll leave with you alike, as I do find you interesting. Thanks, Raven. I appreciate that. Does fasting and praying heal? I believe, Ben Newton, it has the capacity to heal. Yes, I believe it does have the capacity to heal. Fasting and praying orients you physically and spiritually in a certain way. And so it changes you from the inside out, so to speak. It opens you up to the opportunity of being a better person physically, right? And being more healthy mentally. So I believe overall it does have a capacity of health, wellness, and healing. That much is true. You should debate Jesus and whatnot, Dozer says. No, I'm not a debater. I'm just a speaker. We're just here having conversations. I enjoy the dialogue. I'm not here to change anybody's mind or sway anybody towards, to think the way I do. Yeah. Kimberly says, you're a very handsome man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is Israel's second name of Jacob? Yes, it is. It's not a second name. I mean, it's a name he received after Jacob. In that sense, chronologically, yes. Jacob and Israel refer to two different facets of Jacob in the divine revelation that he is manifesting in the world. So there you go. What shape is the earth? It is a spherical globe-like thing. That's what I think, Quasar. Do you follow the Talmud? There is no such thing as following the Talmud. The Talmud is a book of discussions, arguments, debates, and controversies, and it's where rabbinic law is derived from. There are no rabbinic law rulings in the Talmud, hence you do not follow the Talmud. Those who later rule on rabbinic law, on halacha, derive the rulings primarily from the Talmud. The Talmud also has different things that are not related directly to rabbinic law. And so you do not follow that either. Those are teachings that you can incorporate into your mind and knowledge and being, but following the Talmud, there's no such thing. There's following the halacha that is derived from the Talmud, and over there I used to follow halacha more strictly, now I follow more liberally. So I do and I don't. Talmud for wisdom, says So-So. Yes, people say that there's a lot of wisdom in the Talmud. People say there's a lot of batshit crazy things in the Talmud. Both of them are correct. People are very dumb, says viewer. Nice to see you again, man. Yes, people are very dumb. I know, I'm one of them. What do you think about Al-Shara in Syria? I do not know what to think about it. I do not know. Let's see. Jim Morrison says, could you conceive in your mind that God, the magnificent creator of all good things, could create a person who was completely good and kind and sinless? First of all, God can do everything and anything. I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself in the world, right? Through creation, through the 10 Sfirot, through the Torah, through nature, through life. So God could create. If I say God could do something, it also means that God could not do something. So both of them are correct at the same time. I don't know God. Would there be a revelation of somebody who is kind and good and sinless? Yes, it is possible that such a person would exist. Sure, why not? Did each of the 12 tribes have a sigil or banner? Yes, they are laid out in the Mishnaic tradition, in the Midrash. Like Lion of Judah, Wolf for Benjamin. Yes, they did. There were 12 banners. Each of them had a banner, a flag. There is no God, grow up, says Ranged Now 1364. I agree, there is no God. Very good. Because saying there is a God would also mean there is no God, and that is a duality, and God is not a duality. Hence, there is no God. You are correct. I'm in agreement with you. Grow up. Maybe. Maybe a little bit. What do you think? Should I grow up? Oh, by the way, dude, it's now 12:40 p.m. You've been on for way longer than you should have been. Please, if you want to stay on, do something around the house. A couple of somethings around the house. Thank you. A couple because you didn't stop when you were supposed to stop. You've been on longer, an hour longer than you should have been, and that's not okay. 30 minutes. That's close to an hour. Come on, let's not split hairs here. No, it's more than half. Dude, it's more than half. כפרה עליך זה הרבה יותר מחצי. הרבה יותר מחצי. אתה יודע את זה. No. You could argue with me if you... No, I don't appreciate that. And if you want to get any more screen time today, you'll talk to me properly. Am I clear? Good. Jews kvetching with their own. I am indeed a kvetcher. You talking to your wife? No, I'm talking to one of my kids. We don't speak Spanish, dude, says John Denver. Love your work, my man. Bro, you sound ancient when speaking Hebrew. Hebrew is an ancient language. Let's continue. What tribe do the Sephardic people come from? Sephardic people were kicked out into Sfarad. They come from the remnants of the kingdom of Judah. The kingdom of Judah is the tribe of Yehudah, the tribe of Binyamin, and parts of the tribe of Levi. Are you a Nazarite? Yes, I am, Mrs. Diskekshikon. Yes, I am. I am a Samson Nazarite. Watson says, you have the same problem with your kids too. Yes, indeed. You have been on way longer than you should. Do some squats, said Wooden Hat. Maybe I probably should. 2% Jew, still a chosen person, says Jace. I don't go with the chosen person stuff. I really, really don't. I think people were chosen. Humanity was chosen. Not one is better than the other. That's it. I think Jews were selected to keep the Torah and the commandments, and other nations were selected to keep their own things and their own path. That's it. Weren't Sephardic Jews from Spain? Yes, they were kicked out into Spain. They were not from Spain. They are Jews from Judea. Poison damage. Hamed says, I have heard you talk about other religions such as Buddhism as a valid path to walk. Well, no. If anything, I would say that I don't know Buddhism, but I do know some of the teachings of Prince Siddhartha Gautama Buddha, and I am a fan of those teachings. I know some of the Noble Truths, and I know some of the Zen koans, and I know a little bit about it, but I don't know enough to actually speak of it with any kind of knowledge, authority, or, I don't know how to address it properly. What do you consider an idol worshiper? Well, plainly, somebody who worships an idol. That's what an idol worshiper is. Quite literally. That's what I would consider to be an idol worshiper. P says, are we looking at a chosen one by God? I'm not sure what you mean. I don't consider myself chosen for anything. I'm chosen to be me. I'm trying to be the best me that I can be. And I'm failing at that, but I'm trying to do better with each passing day. Can you show how you look without glasses? Yes, I can. Hello. Hi there. Sure what that is. Let's Google that quickly because I'm intrigued. Naturalistic religion, says AI, is a perspective that views nature as the primary source of religious meaning and value. Okay, so yeah, what do I think of it? I think that there's a lot to be derived there because nature is one of the divine revelations, right? One of the ways through which God is revealed in the world. Nature corresponds to the name Elohim. They even have the same gematria. Let's see. There's no proof Jesus resurrected, says Sammy Boy. Okay, talk to those who think that he did. Do you enjoy Jerusalem's Mediterranean climate? Exceedingly, Michael Matthew. I love Jerusalem's weather. I love the breeze. And I'm a man of summer, so I am now in my element. I love it. I really, really love it. Do you like the movie Don't Mess with the Zohan? I only saw it once. I do remember a lot of it has to do with hummus, and I think hummus is life. So I'm very much on board with that. You don't consider golden statues of Buddha in their intense veneration idolatry? Yes, if it's a golden statue that they bring offerings to and bow down before, that is literally idol worshipping. Even if they do not consider him to be a deity, but only someone to venerate and follow, they are actively worshipping and bowing down. So, you could say it's in the very same way of a man of the Hebrew tribes bowing down before a king. We bow down, but we don't consider them God. Is that idol worship? No, because it is falling down, but it's not actually considering them a deity. So you need to differentiate between somebody who is living that you bow down towards and consider to be, divinely inspired, like a king or a prophet or a high priest or I don't know what, and between somebody who you consider to be a deity or the sigil or effigy of a deity. Do you see what I'm saying? It's nuanced. So, if there are Buddhists who consider Buddha their master and who bow down before him as a master before as a pupil before a teacher, as a disciple before a sage, right? Then that's a different story. But if they are bringing it offerings, if they are lighting their incense, if they are praying to Buddha, that is already idol worship. Technically speaking, according to halacha, I think that would be proper idol worship, but I'm not sure. It's been a very long time since I looked into the rabbinic laws of idol worship. But if you want, Maimonides brings them and other halachic rulers bring them on what constitutes proper idol worship according to the Torah. Let's continue. Edit says, you basically believe in the Old Testament only? Like, you can explain to me what your religion is based on, like, really quickly. Yes, the Torah. The Torah is the primary text of the Hebrew faith. That's true across the board. The written Torah. That much is true. Haters are having a meltdown, says Vigil. Anak says, for me personally, I don't bow to anyone except my parents and the one and only. There you go. See, bowing down to your parents means that you give them respect. Bowing down before someone means that you understand that there's a hierarchy of, let's say, authority, and so you humble yourself before the greatness, so to speak. In that sense, that is not idol worship. Is your vow temporary or lifelong? All vows without a temple nowadays are lifelong, even if they are temporary. I took a Samson vow, which means that it's from the onset for life. And I hope to go to my grave, hardcore casual, still under this vow. Your kind caused the bubonic plague, poisoned the wells. Really, White King? I'm pretty sure that's propaganda. El means God. In Spanish, it means him. No, El means a specific facet of divine revelation. This is one thing that translations of the Bible miss because they're not Hebrew, right? There's a difference between Yah, El, Elohim, Adonai, Yod, He, Vav, He, Adonai, Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yod. There's a difference, right, between all of these names and the different divine revelations with which they are attributed. And every translation I've ever seen misses the mark on this consistently. And obviously that would be the case. To say that Jews caused the bubonic plague is really foolish. People blamed the Jews because the Jews were cleaner, since they have the washing of the hands after the bathroom, before partaking of bread. They have the mikveh, right, for men and women that they go to, the ritual pool, and so they were less sick. The Jews were famously less ill, and they were able to weather the bubonic plague in a way that other populations were not, because of the rituals of cleanliness in halacha. And so people turned around and said, oh, the Jews are sick less, they're getting the plague less. They must have started the bubonic plague. Of course, they didn't call it that. They called it the Black Death. Okay. Bhutan needs to be more practical. What do you mean? I'm not sure what that means. What will happen to those who mock... What?
I'm talking about Buddhism.
No, Bhuta with a T. I don't know why he did it with a T. Shai Hagadol says, the most civilized Pole are the Jews. Thousands of years of civilization, and the alphabet is from the Levin, not Rome. Okay. Jay says, found out I'm Jewish but was raised Christian. What do I do? Well, do whatever you want. If you want to discover your roots, and the roots of Christianity are Judaism, so by all means, study it, right? Go, find a master. Find a Jewish master. Find a kosher Jewish master. Start learning some Torah. See if it resonates with you, and rediscover your roots. Or if you want to just say, no, you know what, I was raised Christian, that's what I'm doing, that's how I'm going, and roll with that. I consider the important thing to be being a good person, right? Developing good character traits, being a person of integrity, being a person of honesty, being humble and righteous when you can. That is it. Yod Little says, nice skip. Yod Little, what? What's skip? What will happen to those who mock Yah by the Noahide laws? I don't know enough about the Noahide laws. The Noahide laws are not binding halachically either. It's a difference of opinion on whether or not the non-Jews ought to keep these 7 laws. It's even a controversy, a difference of opinion on whether or not there are 7 laws of Noah, since they don't appear as one chunk, right? They appear a couple here, a couple there, and they sort of aggregated them, is that the word, together, grouped them together in 7 Noahide laws. But it's not precisely clear that all Gentiles must rally under the banner of the Noahide laws. That's not a thing. Now, I know Chabad pushes this a lot, and other rabbis and people push it. I'm on the fence. I really don't know. What is Jesus to you, says Hans Dietrich? A dead Hebrew man, no more, no less. That's what he is. Nice try, Jew, says White King. Thank you. I appreciate giving things a good, hearty college try. Justin says practical, as in reasons for why a person believes something is possible, as in practical reasons and abilities of human potential, and effort that Hebrew people follow the Noahide laws. Oh, I'm sorry. An effort that makes things possible. I'm assuming, Justin, you're talking to somebody else in the chat, because I don't know what's going on here. Okay. All right. PW says, a few more and then I think I'll go. PW says, doesn't matter if you were atheist, you still identify as Jewish supremacist. Really? I'm pretty sure I'm not a supremacist in any way, shape, or form. I'm pretty sure that I'm anti-supremacy. I'm pretty sure that I've always and ever maintained that humanity is made in the image of God. We are all earthlings, not one better than the other. And that any kind of supremacy I see as being just a gateway to pride and arrogance, vanity, condescension, being holier than thou, all traits that I don't want to espouse or be, associated with. What do you disagree with Islam on? Manny says, I don't know enough about Islam to know what I disagree on Islam with. Once we have peace and love and justice in the region, I will turn my attention to the Quran and the teachings of Muhammad. Do you believe in Gog and Magog? Gog and Magog are names of places, not something to believe in. It's said that there will be a war, that's Ezekiel 35, 7, something like that, around in the mid to late 30s, right? A war that will break out. So first of all, hang on, I got some schmutz in my beard. Okay. It's not at all binding to believe that wars will break out. All of the, traditionally, according to the Hebrew tradition, all of the prophecies that have to do with goodness and kindness and peace and justice and, positive vibration, those will come to pass. Anything that has to do with war, exile, destruction, tragedy, malevolence, that does not have to come to pass. It depends on us and our conduct, our behavior, what we do, what we say, and how we do it. So believing in Gog and Magog is simply saying, do you believe there might be a big war? Yes, there might be a big war. I know Christians believe, but I don't know about Jews. Well, considering the fact that it's part of the book of Ezekiel, we are not bound to believe in anything in the prophets. Understand, the prophets, the writings, the scrolls, the rest of the Hebrew Bible after the Torah, all of those books are there. All the other 19 books are there to turn you back to the covenant of Moses, back to the covenant of Sinai, back to the Torah. That is what they are there for. There is not one commandment in the books of the prophets, the writings, or the scrolls. Not one. All of the commandments are in the written Torah, some of them in the oral Torah, a small amount. All of the rest of the Hebrew Bible, nor were we commanded to write it down. We were only commanded to write down the 5 books of Moses. Our sages, at the time of the destruction of the Second Temple, decided, you know what, we're all going to be thrown into all kinds of places globally, all over the world. Let's canonize this book. Let's leave some things out. Let's put some things in and have everybody study from the same canonical group of texts. But it was never commanded to write these down. It was never part of the Torah. It's there to turn you back to the 5 books of Moses, back to the Mosaic law. So Gog and Magog is a prophecy in the book of Ezekiel. It might come to pass. It might not come to pass. It's nothing that you must believe in. It's nothing you need to have faith in. It's not halakhically, rabbinically binding to think that it will or won't happen. Okay. Why do majority Jews despise Christians, says PW? I do not despise Christians, nor do I purport to speak for the Jewish majority, so I have no idea. You will have to ask the majority of Jews. I'm inclined to think that because we have a rough history with the Christians, what with all the pogroms, executions, crusades, and so on, that people have a bit of a not a great relationship, right, with Christianity. Okay. The law came by Moses. Did grace and truth come by Moses too? Justin, I don't know what you mean by grace and truth. The law actually has those two things inside of it, but I don't know what you mean when you say grace and truth. Where did Jacob and his sons went after death? So again, we don't have a everlasting heaven and hell in the Hebrew faith. There is no such thing. We have waiting rooms. We have something approximating purgatory, kind of, called Gehinnom, and we have something approximating a heaven called Eden, but both of them are waiting rooms. We are waiting to partake of the fruit of the tree of life. God willing, all of us together, united, a unified creation, a unified human race, to go back where we belong, this time by our own merit, because we brought Eden into creation with our words, with our deeds, with our thoughts. And we will be able to continue to creation phase 2, the real afterlife, right, after partaking of the fruit of the tree of life. So where did they go after death? Presumably to the higher and lower Eden. Okay. I think I'm going to go. People, this has been so much fun. I deeply appreciate it that you were here, those in the chat and those in the comments, the people who donated, the people who participated with their lovely views. Again, the trolls and the spammers and the Nazis and the haters and the lovers, the encouragers, the likes, the subs, and all the views and stuff. It's so much fun to engage with you. God willing, I will see you on the next live stream where the wonders never cease. If I missed you in the chat, please leave a comment. Any comment that YouTube notifies me of that's addressed to me, I try to address and give my 2 cents. If you want to hit me up in the DMs, Hebrew Nazarite, look for my tree on X, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. And a quick prayer for unity, for love and righteousness and humility and peace and justice to cover the earth, to cover all creation like water covers the seabed. May God pour his Spirit upon all flesh, as it says in the book of Yoel, and that right soon. May we be able to overcome our differences. May we be able to overcome our pettiness towards each other. May we be able to overcome our own weaknesses, our own inadequacies, our own individual shortcomings. Bridge the gaps, find common ground, build something together, identify and embrace each other as human beings made in the image of God, as earthlings, as creation. May it be so. May God take, warfare and bloodshed and terrorism out of creation. Even right now, as I am speaking these words, may the Creator, may the revelation of the Creator, may it be so. May it be able to do that by our own merit. May we merit this with our dealings and doings in the world. Until then, peace and love from Jerusalem. This was so much fun. I thank you all. Peace.